Morgantown, West Virginia. After some encouraging performances to end the season, Skylar Howard now runs Dana Holgerson's high-powered offense. But their defense will be tested today by the unique run-oriented option offense of Georgia Southern, who visits West Virginia. Next on Fox College Football. Virginia, the defense brings out the sledgehammer onto Mountaineer Field at Milan Pushkar Stadium. Tonight in Morgantown, West Virginia, the blue and gold clad fans will pack the stadium for Fox College Football. The Mountaineers of West Virginia host the Georgia Southern Eagles from the Sun Belt Conference. Thanks for tuning in tonight with Brian Baldinger. I'm Mark Followell. It is great to have you with us. And Baldy, it's great to have you for another season of Fox College Football. We've got a great game to start the season tonight. Really excited for this one. So first, let's talk about West Virginia. They don't have a new quarterback, but make no mistake, Skylar Howard does not have a whole lot of hours in that pilot seat just yet, but he'll have some more hours after tonight.
Well, Skylar's from Fort Worth, Texas. Has come a long ways, and I think he's got some confidence. He did throw 8 touchdowns, no interceptions a year ago. And the one thing that Skylar has is he's a runner. He's a good athlete. He has escapability. You got to count for him as a runner. He can extend a play. He also has a couple of young, talented wide receivers that are fast, and you got to get the ball to him tonight. Now, for the Eagles, they are a zone read option team. They run the ball 80% of the time, and this kid, Matt Breida, is a star. He averaged 8.7 yards a carry, the best in FBS a year ago. And if you can run it 80% of the time, you better have a good running back. And if he gets an opening, he might hit his head on the goalpost tonight.
Georgia Southern, just their second year in FBS, but they are a force to be reckoned with. West Virginia starts year 4 in the Big 12. We'll kick off Fox College Football right after this. Stay with us. Georgia Southern takes the field at Milan Pushkar Stadium in Morgantown, West Virginia. They went 9-3 last year, 8-0 in the Sun Belt Conference. And you'll hear a roar now as here comes West Virginia on the field for the season opener here in 2015. Willie Fritz, his second year as the head coach at Georgia Southern. He was at Sam Houston State in Huntsville, Texas before that. Long run at Central Missouri State. Before that, Fritz is 55 years old. Dana Holgerson, 44 years old, from Mount Pleasant, Iowa. This will be his 5th season as the head coach at West Virginia after stops as an offensive coordinator at Oklahoma State, Houston, and Texas Tech. The record, as you saw, 28 wins, 23 losses for Dana Holgerson here at West Virginia. They were 7-6 last year, a 5-4 record in the Big 12. They went to a bowl game, the Liberty Bowl, and lost to Texas A&M.
You know, Mark, and both teams are well coached, but I can't remember a year, and I've been doing this for 20 years, where our country is more excited about the return of football. Watching Michigan at Utah the other night, those fans never sat down. Same atmosphere here in Morgantown. Just a tremendous college town and a great atmosphere.
Indeed, I think everyone is ready. Perhaps the late Labor Day weekend. Yeah. The last few years, football has started at the end of August, but now it starts on Labor Day weekend, September 5th, 7:35 Eastern Time. Alex Hanks kicks off for Georgia Southern. They won the toss, they deferred, and it's fielded in the end zone, a touchback for the Mountaineers. They'll be on offense to start the game with Skylar Howard at quarterback.
And Dana Holgerson in the middle there is the play caller, the head coach. Skylar Howard and him, they're in sync together. And when you watch...
half the distance to the goal line, first down.
Wow, and a touchback, there's a penalty. Dana Holgerson, big priority is improving their special teams. Won't be happy with that penalty that backs up the offense. But this offense can play as fast as any offense in the country when they're in sync and they're clicking.
An unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, a very peculiar way to start a season.
Well, they said half the distance to the goal. So they start at the 13-yard line.
And they will go with Russell Shell and Wendell Smallwood, two very talented backs in the backfield. And Howard is faking the handoff and keeping it from the 13-yard line. A first down run to the 15 for Skyler Howard. When he ran the ball last year, he did have some success. 140 yards on 22 carries, a long of 32.
Well,
we welcome those of you who are watching Texas Tech and Sam Houston State. A win for the Red Raiders here in Morgantown, West Virginia on the second snap of the game, that is. Russell Shell is brought down off a run to the right side by Matt Dobson. A gain of 6, bringing up 3rd down and 2. Mark Followell, Brian Baldinger, our sideline reporter is Leslie McCaslin. We'll be checking in with her in just a moment. Thanks for joining us for Fox College Football. Behind Howard is Wendell Smallwood. Jovan Durant, the true freshman, starting at wide receiver, was the man in motion, and West Virginia may have just committed their second penalty of the game.
Start. Number 4 offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
And Brian, that's Smallwood, the running back from Wilmington, Delaware, a junior.
yeah, and and Dana loves him. He's his best slot receiver. Learned a lot from Charles Sims, who was drafted a couple of years ago by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he might be their best all-around back, but that's a penalty that backs him up 5 and creates this 3rd and 7.
They averaged 6.5 penalties a game last season, West Virginia did. They already have 2 here in the opening minute and 15 seconds. To throw the ball, Skyler Howard for the first time of the game. Perhaps he won't throw. He'll tuck it under and run. Scrambles off to the right side, and there is the playmaking ability for the quarterback with his feet, converting on 3rd down and 6 before Matt Dobson brings him down.
Well, I think Skyler Howard is the best runner at quarterback that Dana Holgorsen has had since he's been here. That includes Geno Smith and Coach Rickett and the others, and he gives you that ability to extend plays.
Picked up the first down by a yard out to the 24. Then running off the left side, stacked up on the first down carry, Wendell Smallwood, a gain of a couple of yards. And now, here's the Academy Sports and Outdoors right still players of the game.
And that's the true freshman, Jovan Durant, from Miramar High School in Miami, who Dana said is the fastest player he's ever coached. And really for Georgia Southern right here, Matt Dobson, the safety, took 2 interceptions back for touchdowns a year ago. He's the senior. He's the play caller on defense, and he shows up wherever the football is.
One of those picks was 100 yards on the return against Texas State. Bouncing it to the outside. A nice-looking run here for Smallwood, and the second first down of the game for the West Virginia Mountaineers offense. Darius White bumps Smallwood out of bounds, but he picks up the first down.
And the misnomer about this air raid offense is it's all pass. It isn't. They ran the ball more than they threw it a year ago. Dana Holgorsen believes in the run game, and he's trying to establish that behind a veteran, big, physical offensive line.
Picking up 16 yards, Smallwood gained 722 yards last season. And he'll run again to the left this time. And Georgia Southern meeting him at the point of attack. Deshaunte Gallup, who had 3 sacks last year. He's a junior from Madison, Florida.
He's the middle linebacker in a 4-3 defense, and Smallwood comes off the field. Russell Shell goes on. They're interchangeable. You saw him kind of tap his helmet, get me out. Shell comes in, right up the road, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Transfer out of Hopewell.
All-time leading rusher in Pennsylvania high school history. And Russell Shell has left the backfield and now is split out far to the left side of the field.
And look at Skyler Howard bending down below the center there.
Second down and 10 for the 44, and a ball over the middle is caught. The catch by Jordan Thompson from Katy, Texas. 49 grabs last year, the leading returning receiver for the Mountaineers.
Just the inside receiver, just running a quick slant. You can see it's against the safety who's off the ball. And Skyler Howard gets a quick completion on this opening drive.
And that moves to the 44 of West Virginia, the 46 of Georgia Southern. A first down run. Near the 40 is Russell Shell. Picked up at least 5. If he gets a generous spot, it could be 6 yards on the first down run.
And you can see West Virginia has this tempo going, and the defensive coordinator for the Eagles, Jack Curtis, said, we've got to handle the tempo. We've got to see how fast it is. We have to adjust. You can't assimilate in practice.
Play fake, looking to throw. A deep one down the right side. They're looking for the true freshman. Just over 4 minutes into his West Virginia career, he has announced his presence with authority.
Well, it's his first catch. Dana Holgorsen told us yesterday, Mark, he's the fastest player he's ever coached. They lost Kevin White to the NFL with the 7th pick in the draft a year ago. He's expected to replace him. Dana Holgorsen was kind of biting his tongue. Didn't want to tell us how good he can be. First catch is in the end zone.
41 yards, just over 4 minutes into the game. Josh Lambert made every extra point last season. He was a Lou Groza Award semi-finalist from Garland, Texas. 45 of 45 on point afters, and that one is true to make it 7-0. The 6 put on the board as he beats White in coverage. Jovan Durant from 41 yards.
And Jovan Durant gets West Virginia on the board first. His first catch as a Mountaineer comes one-on-one coverage against Darius White at the bottom of the picture. You're going to see the separation that he gets right here. Right now, he knows he's got him beat. He's got a lot of real estate to work right here, and Skylar Howard lets him go up and make the catch. You can see the acrobatic ability, the athletic ability in the air to go adjust to that football. And anybody that thought losing Mario Alford and Kevin White to the NFL was going to slow down this passing game, well, I don't know if anybody can develop receivers quite like Dana Holgorsen does.
And he's got a great talent to work with. We're talking a top-level, 4-star recruit, highly sought after, offers from all across the country. Nick O'Toole, who also punts, he kicks off. And this is going to be fielded 2 yards deep in the end zone. Monte Crockett. And Crockett is running 10-15 shy of the 20. Georgia Southern's run-oriented offense will come out on the field without Kevin Ellison, a 2-game suspension to start the year due to academic ineligibility. So, Fabian Upshaw, a junior from Titusville, Florida, Baldy, will quarterback this offense. He does have experience. He took snaps in every game last year, but he'll be the starter for the season opener and next week against Western Michigan.
Well, if Jovan Durant is the fastest guy Dana Holgorsen has ever coached, this kid, Fabian Upshaw, also a South Florida kid, can flat out fly as well.
Derek Keaton is in motion on the 19-yard line. Upshaw hands the ball off and into the inside of the West Virginia defense. A carry by Matt Breida, but not much gain. He averaged, as Baldy said off the top of the show, 8.7 yards a carry last year, 2 before Trayvon Askew Henry brings him down. Yeah,
and Breida had a breakout season a year ago. Only had 1 carry in 2013. Last year, had almost 1,500 total yards and 17 rushing touchdowns.
West Virginia's 3-3-5 defense is threatening. Upshaw took a lick, but made the pitch off to the right side. Breida runs the ball out of bounds near the first down marker. More on that play in a moment after we look at the Academy Sports and Outdoors right sub players of the game.
Well, Georgia Southern has to replace 4 starting offensive linemen from a year ago, and the 1 starter coming back is Darian Foreman, the left guard, and then the Mountaineers are led by Carl Joseph. One of the best safeties in all of football, number 8, has started every game since stepping on campus here in Morgantown.
Option left, 3rd and 1. Upshaw in trouble, down he goes inside the 25-yard line. Jared Barber is back at linebacker after missing last season with an injury, and he, much like Jovan Durant, is thrilled to be on this field here in Morgantown making a play.
Well, he's unblocked. And what he does, it's technique sound. He goes for the outside shoulder of Upshaw, who doesn't like to pitch it going to his left. And he forced him back into his help, and they get off the field. They track 3 and outs, knockout-type defensive plays and series. 3 plays and out, big emphasis for West Virginia's defense.
A knee injury suffered November 9th, 2013 against Texas was the last time Jared Barber played. Now the first punt of Matt Flynn, and it's a poor punt, although it will roll and add a few yards for Georgia Southern on special teams. K.J. Dillon didn't get a chance to return the punt. The fist pump after the sack from Jared Barber. His Mountaineers lead Georgia Southern. We're about to see West Virginia's offense for the second time. For the first time, though, we see our sideline reporter, Leslie McCaslin. Leslie?
Well, guys, as we saw on that first drive for West Virginia, the run opens up the pass. They are a run-first offense, so we're going to be seeing a lot of Russell Shell and Wendell Smallwood tonight. Now, last season, each of these guys both rushed for at least 700 yards and 20 receptions apiece. They were the only pair in the FBS to do that last season, and only the fourth pair in Big 12 history. Their running back coach, Juwan Sider, told me before the game they are both so unselfish. He said he believes they can be the best in the Big 12 this year.
They've thrown deep once in the game. They've thrown deep for the second time in the game. Over the middle, Shelton Gibson way down the field from Skylar Howard. A completed pass for a big chunk of yardage.
Like I said at the beginning of this show, that Skylar Howard's got two young, talented receivers. We saw Durant, and there's Shelton Gibson. That ball was in the air over 60 yards from Skylar Howard. They're getting one-on-one on the outside, and they're letting those receivers run underneath it and go get it.
Last year, Shelton Gibson caught 4 passes for 60 yards. That one went for 57 as Russell Shell is stopped after a 2-yard gain on first down.
I mean, it's just a straight go route. He gets the corner turned around. There it is. There's no safety in the middle of the field. Skylar Howard's just putting a lot of air under the ball. You can kind of tell that Dana Holgorsen can't wait to call these go routes.
Shelton Gibson from Cleveland Heights, Ohio, a sophomore. And a bullet pass is incomplete.
He had the young freshman
on the slant.
Durant on the slant. Maybe put a little too much mustard on that. Couldn't wait to get the ball to him on a quick slant. Oh, I don't think Durant ever saw it. Wasn't ready for it. There's a way to call some plays.
I saw Mike Ditka on there.
How about Ditka made it, huh? The Bears.
Now, Skylar Howard is 3 for 4 passing after that first incompletion of the game.
Howard bends down to his knees to get the signals to his wide receivers.
Third down 8 at the 10. He's looking left. He looked that way the whole time. He throws it into the corner of the end zone. Incomplete for Nikhil Shorts.
Yeah, good coverage that time by Antoine Williams, the redshirt senior. Williams is going to be out here. He's going to go to the corner, make this coverage. On a trail route, didn't give him a lot of room to drop that ball in. Forcing this field goal attempt by one of the best kickers in America.
An FBS record 39 field goal attempts last season for former Garland, Texas Owl, Josh Lambert. He made 30 of those 39 attempts. His longest was 55. He was fantastic in short-range opportunities. And this kick is good from 26 yards out. He went 12 for 13 inside 35 yards last year, and Lambert nails that field goal set up on the long pass play to Shelton Gibson. Now Matt Breida, the leader in yards per carry last year in FBS, will try to get the Georgia Southern offense when we return. West Virginia up 10-0. 2 drives, 10 points for the West Virginia Mountaineers. We're almost 7 minutes into the game. Fox College football tonight at Mountaineer Field at Milan Pushkar Stadium. West Virginia 152 yards on 2 drives. Georgia Southern gained 5 yards on a 3-and-out. Shelton Gibson had a big reception to set up the short field goal a moment ago for Josh Lambert. Nick O'Toole. His kick will be returned. Derek Keaton was 10th in FBS last year in yards per kickoff return. He paid the price to gain those 28 yards. Now, Jenny Taft in Los Angeles with a game break.
Thanks, Mark. Well, it's already been a wild first Saturday of college football, and then this. BYU with the 42-yard Hail Mary. Cougars backup QB Tanner Mangum finds Mitch Matthews. BYU knocks off Nebraska. What a finish. Cougars win it 33-28. Mark, Brian, back to you guys.
Not a great start for Mike Riley there in Big Red Country.
Georgia Southern hoping to improve upon their slow start. Upshaw on the option. There's a hole. Closing speed, though. Wow. I mean, that was shut down by K.J. Dillon. It looked like there was a gap for Upshaw to run.
K.J. Dillon is the outside linebacker on this play. And he's got great speed. I mean, he's the boundary defender. So he's always to the wide side of the field when the ball's on the hash. He's also the punt returner. He's just a fierce competitor and a guy that really makes a difference on this defense.
In the 3-3-5, he plays the spur position and hybrid linebacker, defensive back. Wesley Fields from Americus, Georgia, freshman, first college carry, and he gets blasted at the 30-yard line.
Want to know one way to shut down the zone read? It's by hitting the quarterback the way Kwiatkowski, the middle linebacker, just hit Fabian Upshaw. Just laid him out on that pitch.
Nick Kwiatkowski from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, a fantastic senior linebacker. All Big 12 preseason selection. Top returning tackler in the Big 12 as well. Georgia Southern, 3rd and long, where they pass for the first time. No, they pitch it, it's on the ground. And West Virginia has a fumble recovery. He is down, Carl Joseph, when he picked it up. So the play is dead, but it is a recovered fumble, something West Virginia only did twice all of last season.
Yeah, but Fabian Upshaw going to his left just isn't the same, has the same confidence to pitch the ball. And right now, Tony Gibson's defense in West Virginia is forcing Upshaw to pitch the ball. They're just getting penetration right up the field right now. There's Dillon knocking that ball out. You can see the back took his eyes off it because of Dillon's penetration. Penetration is the worst enemy for a zone read option team, as Carl Joseph is involved with that as well.
Carl Joseph, a senior, a pick last year and 92 tackles, second on the team, and he forces the season's first turnover. Certainly a point of emphasis, Brian, for the West Virginia defense.
Well, they had a lot of live snaps in the summer camp, 600 live snaps. They're ready to hit.
Play is under review.
Ooh. Now, I think the reason it's under review was it a forward pitch, which would make it an incomplete pass,
which would force a punt and a 4th down. So let's see, Upshaw's will be coming to his left. Oh, no way.
Nope.
That ball's certainly behind. There's Dillon with the penetration. There's Joseph and the penetration. Joseph's there. Also could be, no, if Carl Joseph was down at all either.
The replay official, Tom Robinson, is looking at this in the booth with 6:38 remaining in the first quarter. Georgia Southern is off to a slow start, and now the start is going to be even worse with presumably this turnover standing. And you think about the games they've had against FBS opponents and Power 5 opponents, beating Florida 2 years ago, losing by a combined 5 points last year in their first year in FBS to North Carolina State and Georgia Tech from Power 5 conferences.
Yeah, I mean, they don't get rattled. They play those teams on the road. So they're used to going on the road and trying to play the spoiler. But right now, this defense of West Virginia, this 3-3-5 defense, look at the penetration. I mean, you got 2 defenders right there, one for the quarterback, one for the pitch. Upshaw doesn't have any chance to get that ball to his back. It's assignment football. Got a man for the quarterback, a man for the pitch, and they're taking the dive away.
Christian Brown was the man for the quarterback that you saw, number 95. From Fort Myers, Florida, 290-pound D lineman who made 1 start last year. Well, he was bearing down, Brian, on
After video
Upshaw.
review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. First down, West Virginia.
And we all saw the replay. There was no doubt about it.
We spent a lot of time with Carl Joseph yesterday. Born in Haiti. Never played football till he was 12 years old when his family immigrated here. Just fell in love playing football in the Orlando area. Loved to hit. Quiet, soft-spoken, articulate kid, going to graduate in December. Puts that helmet on, and, man, he likes to put the wood on defender, on the offense.
And comes up with a turnover, the first one of the season for the Mountaineers. They empty the backfield. 5 receivers, great field position after the recovered fumble, and an inside pass to Wendell Smallwood. The line of scrimmage was the 26, and I think he barely got back there. Might have even lost a half of a yard on that pass play.
Matt Dobson, the senior safety right there. Smartest player that Willie Fritz said he's ever coached, right there for that wide receiver screen.
Second down and 11. And a quick pass is caught at the 20-yard line for West Virginia. The grab made by Jordan Thompson. Second catch of the night.
I tell you, I'm impressed by Skylar Howard early. I mean, he's seen the field. Remember Dana Holgerson told us yesterday, he's in sync. He really sees the field the way I'm calling these plays. Right now, that ball is out so quick. We're not seeing the frenetic Skylar Howard that we saw at the Liberty Bowl against Texas A&M last year, he's seeing the open receiver right away.
Now a timeout is taken. 5:52 left in the first quarter. West Virginia with the ball. A 10-0 lead, and apparently a timeout is not being granted in this particular case.
Okay. Clock is stopped, however. Now here it goes. Now it's winding and running.
With 5:50 left in the first quarter.
And a third down.
West Virginia last year converted 42% of their third downs. This is a very manageable one. A long three. A handoff. Wendell Smallwood crashing off the left side of the line of scrimmage. And very close.
Yeah, he's short, but I think Dana Holgorsen called a run there, knowing that if they don't get it and it's short, they're going to go for it on fourth down. They got a 10-0 lead. They got control of this game, and sure enough, the offense stays on the field in this fourth down.
Big fullback Elijah Wellman is going into the game. Now, James Harden is left-handed, so if they're running to the left, it's the James Harden play.
Well, we'll see. Maybe that's a good scouting tip.
Fourth and short for West Virginia at the Georgia Southern 17, and penetration into the backfield on the handoff. Antoine Williams stops Smallwood. Georgia Southern's first big moment of the game is on defense 10 minutes in.
Antoine Williams with the stop, but they ran right behind the transfer Kyle Bosch at right guard, and they got penetration. That's a big lift for the Eagles here.
Back on their heels, the Georgia Southern defense makes a stand. They'll have the ball after a timeout. Fox College Football is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. And by the Ford Free Ride Sales Event. The best deals are happening now, only at your Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. John DePalma's the long snapper. Didn't get a chance to come out on the field a moment ago for a field goal. West Virginia went for it on fourth and short. Georgia Southern held. Georgia Southern averaged 7 yards a run last year. They're averaging less than a yard so far. Nick Kwiatkowski with the hit on Matt Breida. Carl Joseph helps out Kwiatkowski, the best two defenders perhaps, arguably for West Virginia, double team on the tackle after a short game.
Well, Kwiatkowski, his defensive coordinator, Tony Gibson, believes he's the best defender in the Big 12. He's led this team in tackles 2 years in a row. He's the middle linebacker in a 3-3-5 scheme. He's kind of free to go get the ball. There's Gibson, intense, believes in these guys. Was brought here to teach this 3-3-5 defense, and it's the third year with it. They believe in the scheme.
Rolling and throwing. Oh, deflected. Batted down. K.J. Dillon. It will be third down and 9 coming up on the incompletion for Fabian Upshaw.
Well, here's K.J. Dillon down at the bottom. He's the outside linebacker. Look, he's just looking, reading the quarterback's eyes all the way, and Upshaw. Look, he hasn't thrown a lot of passes in college football. Just reading his eyes and timed the jump perfectly.
Fabian Upshaw threw 27 passes last year, completing 19. 2 scores, 1 pick. Third and 9. Georgia Southern 10th last year on third down conversions, 49%, but they have not converted a third down tonight. Now they will on the scramble by Upshaw. Steps out of bounds, and Georgia Southern, for the first time in the game, moves the chains.
Well, that's the best play. Now, they come with a 6-man blitz, so he outruns the whole blitz package, and he gets the corner. But he is an elite athlete with rare speed, and it might be one play that they should look at doing more, where literally he drops back to pass and just looks for a lane to run.
Matt Breida now on the backfield. Motion here for B.J. Johnson. Upshaw standing in the pocket. Now flushed. And he'll throw across his body down the sideline. This will end up being an incompletion out of bounds as Jared Barber was applying pressure. So was Shaq Petaway.
You know, and Willie Fritz told us this past week, as the coverage is excellent down the field, nowhere for Fabian Upshaw to go. Got Darryl Worley right there, one of the best corners in the Big 12, throwing a blanket on the receiver to the left. Willie Fritz said that they've got to throw the ball better this year if they're going to repeat as Sun Belt champs.
They weren't eligible for a bowl game last year, but they did go 8-0. They were eligible for the conference championship. L.A. Ramsey, Alfred, they call him Little Al, not to be confused with Al Unser Jr., Little Al Ramsby with the run on second down.
And that's really Willie Fritz's best play, is the inside dive. They run it inside 60% of the runs. You got to stop the dive, because once you start getting sucked in on the dive, that's when the pitch really opens up in this option offense.
Upshaw scrambled for third down a moment ago, for a first down on third down, that is. Now it's 3rd and 5. B.J. Johnson in motion. And a handoff, cutting, moving, Ramsby, and very close to a first down. I think he just surged far enough for it. At the 40, or at the 39, beg your pardon.
But he's a talented inside runner. Watch him jump cut here as West Virginia comes with the blitz. Barber blitzes, and watch that. There's the cut, boom. Sees the defender, Kwiatkowski, coming, and he avoids the hit of Kwiatkowski. That's some quick feet by L.A. Ramsey.
And a nice block. Darian Foreman, the left guard.
Left guard, yeah. We talked about him, the one returning offensive lineman from a year ago.
Now Georgia Southern is in clock control mode. 6 plays, 22 yards on the drive, and a pass is incomplete. Juggled. Ryan Longoria, who caught one ball last year, did not bring that one down. A senior from Hacienda Heights, California.
He's got to catch his ball. And their coaches, Doug Ruse, the offense coordinator, said most improved player on the team, and they need, that first down positive gain, that 6 or 7 yards that Longoria could have had as the ball hit him right in the hands.
Georgia Southern coaches box. Doug Ruse, Jack Curtis, offensive and defensive coordinators respectively. 40-yard line, 2nd down and 10. Running the ball, right side, staying on his feet, tough run.
Jeez.
Talked about Matt Breida's explosiveness, but a tough run. Now the helmet goes off. Andy Kwan, the center, will have to leave the game here for a 3rd down play coming up.
Huge, because his backup, Jackson Morris, has to come in the game for a play, and obviously the center exchange with the quarterback, you always worry about it.
It cost Kansas a chance to tie the game at the end of regulation today, as a matter of fact, in their upset loss against South Dakota State. Upshaw, fake the handoff, sprinting out to the left, has a block on the edge, and has room to the sideline. They'll convert another 3rd down, and all the way to the West Virginia 38-yard line.
Well, you know what? They all bid on the dive. Here comes the inside fake inside here. A.J. Dillon bid on it, and that's all he's reading. He sees Dillon bite, and this guy out in the open space. I mean, it is fun to be able to fly the way Upshaw runs. I mean, what a feeling to be able to run like that.
Derek Keaton threw the block on the edge, 16 yards. Georgia Southern, you saw, they were first in the country in rush yards per game, rush yards per carry, and rushing touchdowns last year. What a big deflection by Dillon. I think that's going to be Wesley Fields catching a pass if Dillon doesn't make perhaps a touchdown-saving deflection.
Hey, is Dillon all over the field? I mean, he's the outside linebacker. He's down the field. He's going to drop right into the middle of the coverage right now. Just reading Upshaw. Wow, look at that acrobat. He saved a touchdown.
Penalty anyway, though.
It's going against the offense. Really going to back him up.
It's a 15-yard penalty.
Kind of personal foul for a 15.
It was a chop block.
Chop block, yeah. Just trying to protect the legs of defenders there. Somebody was engaged, and then another player cut the defender.
Now 1st and 25, and down goes Upshaw for a loss. Kwiatkowski and Dillon. It will be 2nd and a country mile. Those are long miles in West Virginia, a country mile. And that's what Georgia Southern is facing.
Well, they believe from the scouting reports and watching 157 plays of Fabian Upshaw a year ago that when they pitch the ball the option, it's going to his right. And they're overplaying the pitch right now, going that direction.
The shot block really hurt the momentum of this drive. Now 2nd and 27. Upshaw, it's a wounded duck pass. Longoria was the intended receiver, and Darryl Worley bats it away.
I tell you, I have a lot of respect for Darryl Worley out of Philadelphia. one of the best corners in the football. It's one-on-one all the way, man-to-man. Look at the position he has. He has Longoria on his back hip. He didn't panic. He played the ball perfectly in the air, and I think the Big 12 is going to see what kind of player he is. He's big. He's 6'2". He's got the long arms, the quick hips, and look at the man-to-man coverage on Longoria here.
Save that tape for a demonstration in pass coverage. 3rd and 27 in the last minute of the first quarter. Late on the play clock. Upshaw running. Kwiatkowski stepping up into the hole, and boom.
You know what you do? You just add another tackle to Kwiatkowski's account. Like, he's just an accountant racking up tackles. Like a vacuum cleaner, and look at the eyes. Look at the intensity of those eyes right there. He doesn't get blocked. He plays behind his nose tackle perfectly. Takes the outside shoulder of Upshaw, not fooled by anything. What a player.
Our statistician, Robert Mitchell, he may need an abacus to count all of these tackles tonight for Nick Kwiatkowski. He is racking up a lot of them. Matt Flynn moved Ryan Nowicki out of the punting role. This is his second kick tonight, and it will bounce over K.J. Dillon's head and roll into the end zone. Touchback, West Virginia ball, up by 10 with 10 seconds left in the first quarter. And right now, we go to Los Angeles, another college football game break. Here's Jenny Taft.
Thank you. Number 11, Notre Dame hosting Texas. Sophomore lefty Malik Zaire. Now the undisputed starter after Everett Golson's transfer to Florida State. He finds Will Fuller for the 16-yard TD pass. The Fighting Irish up 14-0. Mark, back to you.
Thanks, Jenny. Georgia Southern moved the ball. A penalty slowed down their drive and, in essence, stopped it.
Charlie Strong trying to find that offense in Austin.
Howard, last play of the first quarter, and Durant's behind the defense and just to the ball. Great catch, down he goes. Darius White dropped him, but a beautiful catch, a beautiful read on the ball by Jovan Durant.
Tell you, Skylar Howard can throw the ball a long ways, and that guy can flat out go get it. He's just running away from Darius White again on that play. No safety in the middle of the field. One-on-one, and the speed of Durant is just, I mean, there's White on him. I mean, there's no moves. It's just flat-out speed. And then Skylar Howard's got the arm to get it to him. What an adjustment. That's a second great adjustment, turning his body and concentrating on it. And when I talked to Durant before the game, he was telling me about his opening game last year at Miramar High School against American Heritage. Here he is in Morgantown, putting up big numbers and making big plays.
Caught a touchdown, and that one was for 57 yards to end the first quarter. There's Durant's touchdown on Fox College Football. West Virginia leads Georgia Southern 10-0. Statistical domination for West Virginia in the first quarter. They lead the game 10-0. 217 yards. Last year, West Virginia averaged 500 yards a game. That was 4th in the Big 12, 12th in the country.
Well, the difference in this game right now is the deep passing plays of Skylar Howard to his receivers, Gibson and Durant. They flipped field position and one touchdown, the 41-yarder to Durant.
And 2 57-yard pass plays, one to Durant, one to Gibson. And Howard is going for the end zone again, and he almost dropped it in the bucket, but Gibson could not bring the ball in. 2nd down and 10 coming up to start the second quarter.
They're a little bit greedy, aren't they? I mean, they know that they've got an advantage on the outside. I mean, Georgia Southern just doesn't see this kind of speed in the Sun Belt. Nice little job right there, kind of pulling the jersey and keeping the receiver close to him.
Darius White was on coverage. Gibson is out wide to the left. Russell Shell, room to run for Shell. Patient run, 20-yard line inside the 15 to the 14. Matt Dobson on the tackle.
Running behind the new left guard this year, Adam Pankey, who was the left tackle a year ago. Yadni Kajos right now is playing left tackle. Young redshirt freshman, also from Miramar High School in Miami. Good offensive line. Tyler Orlowski, academic all Big 12 player. We talked to him yesterday. Smart, loves this system. Kind of the quarterback of that offensive line.
Pankey is the left guard, as Brian said. Orlowski the center, snaps it back in the gun, and it's incomplete. Just over Devontae Mathis.
Well, you know, Skylar Howard knows that's on him. Look, he's tapping his own helmet. That's me. I had my receiver open, and I didn't drive it. Here he is on the outside. Got Mathis had him too. He just had to lower that ball, just drive it a little bit. And that's what Skylar Howard has to get better at. He can throw the long ball, the deep ball. You got to be able to drive that ball into the end zone there with an open receiver.
Already hitting tonight for 26 yards, Josh Lambert. 32 was this attempt. The affable punter, Nick O'Toole, is the holder. He also kicks off. And Lambert is able to curl it through. Second field goal tonight for Josh Lambert. West Virginia extends the lead to 13-0 at home against Georgia Southern. Times in Morgantown, West Virginia for the Mountaineer fans. 13-0 lead for West Virginia over Georgia Southern. Starting next month, two of the biggest names in the UFC face off as coaches. Interim featherweight champ Conor McGregor and Uriah Faber join an all-new season of The Ultimate Fighter. The Mayhem starts Wednesday only on Fox Sports 1.
Strike up the band. Josh Lambert, 3 more points. But, you know, the fact that they've held in the field goals the last 2 possessions, you know, it's a 13-0 game. West Virginia's dominant on the game, but Georgia Southern hanging around just because they've been able to keep them out of the end zone.
And it's 2 possessions they held into field goals. Remember, sandwiched in between was a stop on downs after a turnover.
Yeah, they compete now.
Nick O'Toole's kickoff to the back of the end zone. A touchback for Georgia Southern. Here's Leslie McCaslin down on the field.
Well, West Virginia's defensive coordinator, Tony Gibson, told us he's been watching film of this tricky triple option since March. When they found out that the Eagles quarterback would be Fabian Upshaw, they broke down every snap he took last year. Out of 150 snaps, Upshaw only made 1 mistake. So a big key for this West Virginia defense coming into this season was to put pressure on Upshaw. He just told his guys at the break, that quarterback's feeling the heat on him now, guys. He wants his team to continue to get after him.
He is feeling the heat. They are bringing it. There was some motion. Upshaw made the pitch. He had room. He slipped.
He needs to get to a pit stop and change the tires. They came right out from underneath him, and he had exactly what he wanted. A seam where he had Darryl Worley going to the outside, and he could have taken that straight up the field, and he lost his footing. It's like a fine European sports car taking the corner.
Had a blowout.
And had a blowout.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Tough break for Georgia Southern. Now they're going to go Wildcat. Upshaw just went out of the backfield in motion. They snapped the ball to Matt Breida, and Breida ran out of a tackle, still on his feet, stopped at the 31.
Yeah, the legs never stop on Matt Breida.
He was churning.
Yeah, I mean, he was stopped, but the feet didn't stop, and so it took about 8 to bring him down. Shows you his competitive flavor. You don't just lead the FBS in yards per carry and not have great legs.
3 yards, Matt Breida on the direct snap to him. Now Breida is out of the game. Ramsby is behind Upshaw. 3rd and 4. Motion Longoria. Fake the inside handoff. No, give the inside handoff to Ramsby. Upshaw tried to sell it on the outside, but West Virginia, the defense didn't bite. Jared Barber gumming up the works inside after a gain of 3. And they needed 4.
Well, you know, West Virginia last year was one of the best defenses in the country on 3rd down defenses. Tony Gibson there, watch the fake, of course. You know, just be ready for anything. But they got off the field 30, you know, they allowed teams to just convert 31% of the time.
9th best last year, Brian.
Yeah.
And all of FBS, 9th best. They got him off the field, a rush on the punt. That may have been tipped. That punt was so poor that one
good roll
could certainly surmise it was tipped. However, it did roll. You're exactly right. Got a good kick down to the 26-yard line. West Virginia, the offense headed back on the field. A touchdown and 2 field goals so far to the Mountaineers. 18 minutes played, 13 points scored for West Virginia as they lead Georgia Southern at home. Now Jenny Taft has a game break in Los Angeles.
Number 7, Oregon hosting Eastern Washington. We all know Vernon Adams Jr. had huge shoes to fill for Heisman winning QB Marcus Mariota. Well, Adams, the transfer QB from Eastern Washington, finds Braylon Addison for the 6-yard score. Ducks up 13-6 at this point. Mark, back to you.
Thanks, Jenny. 13-0 the score here.
One of the great stories in college football this year, Vernon Adams transferring to Oregon, taking over for the Heisman Trophy winner.
West Virginia has Skyler Howard at quarterback. Started twice last year. This drive started to the 26. There's that deep ball, and that was Wendell Smallwood. And he is a running back, but he is a versatile running back who can catch a lot of passes, led Big 12 running backs and receptions last year with 31.
Well, here he is against the safety, Matt Dobson. I mean, it's just matchups. They just think Smallwood is faster than Dobson. You see Dobson doing a pretty good job of staying with them. Dobson, of course, was a former quarterback when he came to Georgia Southern. Moved him to safety. Willie Fritz couldn't sing his praises high enough, saying the smartest player that he has ever coached, their leading tackler from a year ago.
Senior, Monticello, Florida. 3 straight incompletions for Skyler Howard. Rolling right as a blocker in front of him, ran away from the tackle and ran it to the sideline. Deshaunte Gallen forcing him out of bounds.
Skyler Howard from Fort Worth started at Stephen F. Austin. Transferred to Riverside Community College. Changes here. Geno Smith leaving. Changes at West Virginia quarterback. Dana Halger says that we need a quarterback. Come on. Started the final 2 games a year ago. Dana said this kid really understands what I want at this position.
And he said that Skyler's tired of being told he's not big enough, he's not fast enough, he's not good enough.
Yeah, he's not listening to anything. He's not grown anymore. He's maybe 6 foot tall.
Skyler said this week he doesn't have a chip on his shoulder. He has a potato on his shoulder.
Start. Number 55 offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Yadney shaking his head. Also at a Miramar High School.
West Virginia had a couple of penalties early tonight. First drive of the game, that one turns 3rd and 6 into 3rd down and 11.
Just rushing 3, dropping 8.
Howard has time. Now rolls, hit as he throws, caught by Smallwood in an ankle tackle near the sideline. That's Antoine Williams, got him out of bounds shy of the first down.
I tell you, Antoine Williams is having a good first half. Only 3-man rush. Howard getting out. Always tough for any right-handed quarterback. Ooh, he got hit on that ball by Deshaunte Gallen. That ball was deflected by Gallen, the middle linebacker, and the other linebacker, Williams, was able to bring Smallwood down and force this punt as the Eagles hang in this game and keep fighting.
Kept him a yard short of the first down. Big punt by Nick O'Toole. Hold the phone, though. Whistles. First time tonight that Nick O'Toole has had to punt. Averaged almost 42 yards last year.
8 officials, of course, in the Big 12, so 8 working the field tonight.
Prior to the snap, the replay booth initiated a replay. On the previous down, the ruling was that the receiver was able to control the ball and get a foot in bounds. This play is now under review.
Well, Dana Holgerson, you can see the headset was off. I mean, he slammed it, saying that was a bad spot. And he got his wish inside his own stadium.
We certainly appreciate the thorough explanation, by the way, from John McDade, the referee.
It pulls some hair out on this. This is his 5th year for Dana Holgerson. Every single player on this team is a player that he's recruited. Now he's hit the ball here to Smallwood. I don't know, from that angle.
It's confirmed. 4th down.
Stretching that ball out with his left hand, but you can see he's far short of the yard marker.
The ball was moved up just a little bit, but it is a full yard short of a first down. And so once again, he was the boom stash last year. He's the boom beard now. That is quite impressive.
It is impressive.
Nick O'Toole. And this punt's even better. Wow. Back goes Derek Keaton, and it sails over his head.
What a weapon.
65 yards.
That's all beard, folks. It's all beard. Fear it. Don't try it at home. West Virginia up 13-0, 10:50 to go in the second quarter. It's been defense. It's been the story. I mean, smothering defense here. There's Barber bringing down Fabian Upshaw with the loss. Here they force a fumble. A.J. Dillon recovered by Carl Joseph, the senior. And then watch Kwiatkowski, the middle linebacker, on a third down, stopping Fabian Upshaw with a quarterback draw. And the result is West Virginia's held the Eagles to 53 total yards of offense, 3 first downs. A smothering day for Tony Gibson. And Mark, we've been coming here for years. We've always talked about the offense first. You come to watch West Virginia play right now, really their story is their defense and what they bring.
And they have brought the heat on Fabian Upshaw tonight. Upshaw, quarterback, handing the ball off to Matt Breida. Room to run for Breida, fought out of a tackle. And he's beyond the 25 to the 26, a gain of 6. Nick Kwiatkowski stopping him after the 6-yard pickup.
And that's what they need. They need first down positive yards. 6 yards of first down. They need to establish a schedule because they can wear even a great defense like West Virginia down if they can stay with it and compound it. 6 yards on first down is a good start. They haven't had many runs like that on first down tonight.
Only 3 first downs and 53 yards before that snap. Upshaw picking and choosing, and a collision with Trayvon Askew Henry, but Upshaw moved the ball forward a yard or 2 after the collision. 3rd and short coming up.
Well, one thing about Upshaw, you know, he's only 170 pounds. He's going to get hit because he's going to carry the football. He just keeps taking them. He lines up. Doesn't look like it shakes him up at all.
170. I think you said yesterday that he has to jump around in the shower to get wet. Is that right?
He's got to find the raindrops there.
Yard and a half is what they need. L.A. Ramsby will not get that yard and a half. Clearly short. Jared Barber, great to see him back on the field from the Mountaineers' perspective. The senior linebacker, we noted earlier, him missing all of last season with an injury. Suffered in November of 2013, ACL injury.
I know from experience, Mark, when you've been injured, I've been injured this summer, when you have a chance to come back and play like you love it more than you ever dreamed you loved it, you miss it. And Barber's playing like he's really missed it.
Senior from Knoxville, North Carolina.
Timeout of the half. West Virginia.
West Virginia calling a timeout. Georgia Southern had the offense on the field on 4th and 1 at their own 29. What will they do? Down 13. Find out next. Tune in for this. 4th down and 1. Georgia Southern, their own 29. They took a timeout. They did not bring the punting unit on the field. You see exactly what they need for a first down. And the offensive line with 4 new starters lining up against Nick Kwiatkowski and the West Virginia defense. Look at this call. In their own end of the field, and a handoff, and he leans forward but does not get it. Ramsby takes the handoff and is a few inches short. Shaq Pettaway and Christian Brown lead the charge for the West Virginia defense.
Well, it's a big gamble by Willie Fritz and behind 4 new offensive linemen because they just don't move the line of scrimmage. Kwiatkowski comes in and stuffs the guard. You know, Willie Fritz was telling us this year he's a big believer in metrics and studying numbers and what to do in certain situations. He second-guessed himself in a late situation against North Carolina State last year. He feels it cost him the game. I don't know that any metrics would tell you to go for it on 4th and 1 in your own territory, only down 13-0.
As an analytics service now preparing a report every week. Skyler Howard under pressure, fought it off, and is able to get rid of the ball. His helmet has gone off. Looks like that he had able to roll out of the tackle box, Brian, so there's no grounding. But look at Bernard Dawson here.
Yeah, Dawson, the senior, is all over, or the junior, all over him right there.
The offense.
It is intentional grounding.
He was outside the pocket, but was unable to get the forward pass past the line of scrimmage. The penalty places the ball at the spot of the pass, but lost it down. It would be 2nd down.
What a great play by Bernard Dawson. You can see this is the tackle box here. And he's going to be in it as he tries to really just get rid of that ball from Dawson. Referee on the play makes that call, and so we see William Crest Jr. threw all of 4 passes a year ago.
ended up being a redshirt season. In the second game of the year, he played against Towson. That was it. It was a loss of 19 with a spot foul on the intentional grounding penalty. And the pass play is broken up. Gibson was the intended receiver. Darius White, the cover corner. And William Crest's pass was incomplete. He had to go in, Brian, because Skylar Howard lost his helmet.
Yeah, and the other thing is that intentional grounding, it's a loss of down. So now it's 3rd and long, and Crest stays in the game. This could be a great stop by the Eagles after that 4th down miss, if they can hold them here.
First charge timeout of the half. Georgia Southern. It will be a 30-second timeout.
Now, timeout, Georgia Southern. West Virginia took the timeout on 4th down a moment ago, just to clarify.
Okay.
Now the first timeout for Georgia Southern, and while there's a timeout, here's Jenny Taft at LA with a game break.
Mark, thanks. Number 3, Alabama facing number 20, Wisconsin at AT&T Stadium on 4th and 1, 37-yard touchdown run for 6'3", 240-pound Derrick Henry. Alabama on the board first. It's 7-0. Mark, back to you.
Thanks, Jenny. Big night in Arlington, Texas for Alabama and Wisconsin.
Yeah, Roll Tide in the Final Four a year ago. What a playoff system it was a year ago. Watching Florida State, Oregon, Alabama, of course, Ohio State out of nowhere with that performance by Ezekiel Elliott, Cardale Jones. I mean, phenomenal finish by Urban Meyer and that crew.
3rd and 29 after the timeout by Georgia Southern. Stepping up, William Crest ran out of one ankle tackle, but only able to surge forward for a couple of yards, and it will be apparently a punting situation.
I tell you, what a phenomenal performance by the Eagles defense. The offense doesn't make the yard. They give the ball back to West Virginia, great field position. They back them up, make them punt it here in 3 plays. That's a great performance by that side of the ball. Jack Curtis, the defensive coordinator, has got to be thrilled.
Jamal Johnson, the stop on 3rd down, but it was the pressure by Bernard Dawson on 1st down that forced intentional grounding. The punt checks up from Nick O'Toole, and it is down at the 7-yard line with 8:12 left in the first half. West Virginia in front, 13-0 at home against Georgia Southern. Tomorrow, a special edition of college football on Fox Sports 1. The Purdue Boilermakers take on Marshall's Thundering Herd. Coverage at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 Pacific on your home for college football all season long. Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. I use that Fox Sports Go app today to watch South Dakota State and Kansas.
Yeah, what a finish. I mean, you were giving me the play-by-play and the way that game ended. And what an upset. A lot of upsets, I thought, this weekend already. South Dakota State taking down the Jayhawks. We saw FIU beat Central Florida the other day. Stanford fell at the hands of Northwestern.
Georgia Southern for their own 7. And a lane to run for Upshaw, and ran out of a tackle. He didn't slip this time. When he had a lane to run on a drive previously, he slipped, but breaks out of a tackle and picks up a 1st down.
Yeah, I think Carl Joseph comes from a safety position. 39 straight starts and really got the shoelaces that time to bring down Upshaw.
Matt Breed in the game in the backfield.
You see the blitz look over here, and Upshaw sees it, so he changes the play.
Upshaw just ran for 13 yards, gets them out of the shadow of their own goalpost. Now Breida looking like Ronaldo Nehemiah, that is, the hurdler, over the 25 and out near the 30.
Well, what they did was they changed the play at the line of scrimmage. You know, they saw the blitz coming from that side, so you get both linemen out pulling right there. You get Lingenfelter out there kind of on the lead. Nice move by Breida to get, you know, a good yard, 7 yards on the 1st down.
13 yards, then 7 yards, the 2 runs, and now Christian Brown is the player that's down here for West Virginia. West Virginia, you noted earlier, they did a lot of hitting during camp, and linebacker Edward Muldrow was the only player of note that wasn't available for West Virginia going into the game tonight, but they have so much depth on defense. They're okay in that regard. There isn't a freshman on their 2 deep on defense. The entire team has 33 juniors and seniors on the 2 deep, and so Dana Holgerson will just plug in Eric Kinsey in this situation.
Eric Kinsey, he's a senior from Miami. They just next guy up. They feel like they're 6 deep along that defensive line.
Christian Brown went out. 2nd down and 3, and a patient run.
That's the first time I think I can remember tonight, you know, with 7.5 minutes to go here in the second quarter, where Georgia Southern ran the ball 2 times in a row and picked up a first down. Like maybe the one thing about this team, the defense is keeping them in the game. And so they can stay with this run, stay with it because they believe in it. Willie Fritz believes in it. He's always been a run-first guy.
That was a gain of 5 for Breida. They moved it 25 yards on this drive. And Breida will run the ball again. The offensive line had gotten push on a couple of consecutive running plays, but not much there with Eric Kinsey stopping Breida for no gain.
What we said at the very beginning, you know, the big story for Georgia Southern this year was replacing 4 senior linemen from a year ago. So 4 new starters, Foreman, 63 there in your picture. The only returning starter. So Quan back in there, Andy Quan at center. They're kind of learning on the fly here, playing together.
Max Magana, a junior college transfer. Roscoe Bird at right guard, a transfer from UAB. And Fabian Upshaw, that was a busted play. Nick Kwiatkowski drops Upshaw for a big loss.
Well, I think that was on Upshaw. I mean, Quan had a little high snap, and Upshaw took his eyes off, and so he kind of double clutched it. Kwiatkowski, you give him that kind of just a second to read the play, he's going to find an opening to go after the quarterback.
No gain on first down, loss of 5 on second down, now 3rd and 15.
By the way, what a great name for a middle linebacker, Kwiatkowski. I mean, yeah, he's right there with the likes of a Butkus. It's just one of those names that you like saying a lot.
Was a safety in high school at Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, but now fits the name. Incompletion for B.J. Johnson.
Right. B.J. Johnson, their leading receiver from a year ago. This is a second big drop by Georgia Southern in the passing game. Upshaw can't throw it any better, and he took his eyes off him. He was already turning that shoulder upfield when that ball bounced off his chest, and that's a shame because that would have been enough possibly for a first down.
Matt Flynn punting again. We've seen number 55 on the field a lot tonight for Georgia Southern. And we see another true freshman back right now, Gary Jennings. Rush on the punt. It's a short punt, but it's rolling. And it's down to the 29. Malik Henry downs the punt of Matt Flynn. And West Virginia on their own 29 is starting this drive, leading 13-0, 5:28 remaining in the second quarter. As we look at the summary of the game tonight, Brian, West Virginia's offense, Skylar Howard leading the attack at quarterback.
And 3 big pass plays. 2 to Javon Durant, the freshman. That one for 57 yards, also a 41-yard touchdown, and then defense, K.J. Dillon right there. Getting that defense off the field a bunch tonight on 3 plays and out.
Last 4 passes for Skylar Howard incomplete. Officially, the ball is at the 30-yard line after Matt Flynn's punt. And Howard down the right side, and Durant could not catch up to that pass.
He has to put a little more air on that ball. You know, he kind of threw that ball a little too flat. Let Durant, who's just running right by Darius White with that phenomenal world-class speed, you know, just give him a chance to go get it.
And how good is that speed? Shelton Gibson, Dana Holgerson told us, would win all the foot races before Durant got here, and now Javon Durant is 5 yards ahead of him or more. Good pocket. Howard again, more air under this one. There's Gibson, and he's under it, and he leaps and grabs it. Super catch by Shelton Gibson way downfield inside the Georgia Southern 25.
I mean, look, he gets behind, you know, the safety on this play, or the middle linebacker Gallen, who shouldn't be covering a man like Shelton Gibson. That's the 4th big pass play here for West Virginia. It's the whole difference in this first half.
4 pass plays over 40 yards. That one was 47. 2 have gone to Durant, 2 have gone to Gibson. And now Skylar Howard is running and got out of the tackle, still on his feet. Matt Dobson hits him, and also upended by Darius Jones as well.
Yeah, Matt Dobson a little slow getting up, but that's a good read by Skylar Howard. And I said the difference with Howard is he's got running ability. I mean, he can run the read option. He can scramble. We've seen it a bunch tonight. And he can extend plays.
And ran that one to the 13. The gain is 10. First down. West Virginia on the move. A big play on a pass to Gibson. Set things up. Russell Shell Darting, weaving, picks up a block from a receiver, Jordan Thompson. Boy, Jordan Thompson, he paid the price to make that block.
You sure did. He came back and knocked down and he did pay the price because he's coming off the field limping right now. But he did it fearlessly, putting his shoulder right in the belly of a defender that would have made the play. Allowed Shell to pick up a couple extra yards.
Now Shell's run down to the 7. Picked up 6 yards.
This time Durant is in the slot. Usually he's outside.
A long 3 is what West Virginia needs here on 2nd down. And Russell Shell again, short of the 5-yard line.
One thing about this air raid offense, they don't have a fullback. They're not really a power, short yardage, goal line type team. And so I think sometimes when you get down to this part of the field where you can't make another first down, or you can here at the 3. But this situation here, you'd love to maybe have a lead blocker, but that's not the system that Dana believes in.
If they were to go that route, you've got a power set up with Elijah Wellman, who's in the game right now. He's lined up to Howard's left. Fullback Elijah Wellman from Huntington, West Virginia. 3rd down and 2, and a play fake, and a throw, and it's incomplete off the fingertips of Jovan Durant.
Now they've gone for 1 4th down tonight. They didn't make it this close to the goal line. Yeah, they're going to kick the field goal this time. Wow. Durant really stretched for it. Love to see him bring that down. He would at least have the first down. Howard could have put that ball in a little better position. Only a 50% completion thrower a year ago.
Josh Lambert, we noted earlier tonight that he set the FBS record with 39 field goal attempts last year, and a busy right leg for Lambert tonight. This will be his 3rd try. It's 22 yards away, but it's a tough angle. Well, we thought it was tough. He certainly didn't make it look tough at all. Just curled it right through. 3rd field goal of the game for Josh Lambert, and it's a 16-0 lead. Shelton Gibson caught a 47-yard pass on that drive to put them in scoring position. Coming up on the Fox College Football Halftime Show, Rob Stone, Matt Leinart, Dave Wanstead. They're in the studio talking about Northwestern's upset today over Stanford, and who will challenge TCU and Baylor in the Big 12. Are we seeing a team tonight here in Morgantown, West Virginia, that might do that? I think they're underrated going into the year, Brian.
I mean, look, they knocked Baylor off a year ago here. They always play TCU tough.
They lost by a point. TCU won at the end of the game.
Yeah, lost by a point a year ago. They certainly have the belief, and I think this year the defense is better. It's the best defense that Donna Holgerson has ever had here. I think they have the right system to defend the Big 12 in that 3-3-5 concept. They can defend the perimeter game and the high-octane, up-tempo type offenses that they see week in, week out.
The biggest impediment for West Virginia, perhaps their schedule. On the road in October at Baylor and TCU and Oklahoma. Monte Crockett downs the ball in the end zone with 3:04 left in the 2nd quarter. Here's Jenny Taft in Los Angeles with another game break.
Thank you, Mark. Number 19, Oklahoma hosting Akron. Baker Mayfield finds Dede Westbrook, 29-yard score. Mayfield used to be the starting QB at Texas Tech. He's looking good in that new uniform. At half, Oklahoma leads Akron 17-3. Mark?
Well, you know, Jenny, they have a new offensive coordinator in Oklahoma, and Lincoln Riley came from East Carolina. Kind of one of these type of spread offensive minds, the way Mike Leach was, Dana Holgerson is. That's his background, and that's what Oklahoma's going to go with. And, of course, Baker Mayfield, the transfer from Texas Tech, has found a new home.
Baylor Mayfield had a great freshman year at Texas Tech, but now under center in Norman. For the 25 on the touchback on a kickoff, and Rita was cut down. Carl Joseph came knifing in and brought him down after a short gain. 2 yards on that run.
Well, he's just a sure tackler, and he runs right through the ball carrier. He never lets Breida really sidestep him or jump start him or anything. Takes that outside leg down.
He's a short tackler, and he is a punishing hitter when given the opportunity. There's Carl Joseph. Breida 10 carries, 39 yards tonight. They faked it to him. Upshaw looking for Georgia Southern's first completed pass. Someone caught it, but it's Trayvon Askew Henry with an interception for West Virginia. One of the best freshmen in the nation last year on the defensive side of the ball. Trayvon Askew Henry from Aliquippa, Pennsylvania, has his third career interception.
What a great play on the ball, too. The second takeaway for this defense right now is, like, look, you know, the ball's for the receiver, but when you have confidence in your technique right here, look at him go up for the ball like a receiver. He takes it away from B.J. Johnson. And we talked to Tony Gibson, the defensive coordinator. They wanted to average 2.5 takeaways a game this year. Already 2 in the first half.
Last year, they only averaged 1.2 turnovers a game, tied with Oklahoma State for last in the Big 12. They forced 14 turnovers last year.
The ruling on the field in the previous play is an interception by West Virginia. This play is now under review.
Well,
they were a -15 turnover margin last year, 6th worst in FBS, West Virginia, but they're a +2 tonight if the official review stands with 2:23 remaining in the first half. And you saw Trayvon Askew Henry bring the ball down. It looked to me like he had control. The ball does hit the turf, but it's controlled in his hands, Brian.
well, let's see. If it's moving and it hits the turf, that's not control. So we'll see if this review is valid.
It's confirmed. First down, West Virginia.
Yep, doesn't move in his hands. Really good job. And it's the right ruling.
All confirmed.
So they've got an interception tonight by Henry and a fumble recovered by Carl Joseph. It's up to the offense now to try to capitalize here before halftime.
Scored a touchdown on the first drive. They've had 3 drives ended field goals, a turnover on downs, a couple of punts tonight. Underneath, Wendell Smallwood. And Smallwood is upended. Deshaunte Gallen and also Robert Bryce, number 25. He's the one who went low on the tackle after Smallwood picked up 8 on the pass play.
That's one thing we haven't really seen from Skylar Howard tonight, just a short passing game. Everything has either been deep with a bunch of big pass plays, as you mentioned, 4 of them over 40 yards, which is the difference in this first half.
Second down and 2. Quick pass again. Oh, Da'Keil Shorts, a little stutter step, but he went out. He tried to toe tap and stay in bounds, but he just stepped out. Still has a first down quite easily. 10 yards.
Da'Keil Shorts, one of those players that starred as a true freshman here in this offense. Inside slot receiver.
Yeah, 2013, Brian led the team in receptions with 45. Wendell Smallwood into Georgia Southern territory. Tough running. Bounced off a tackle. Tay Hicklin, the worse for wear, the defender, trying to stop Wendell Smallwood.
They got a good crease inside there between Pankey and Orlowski, the left guard in the center. As they spread the field with 5 receivers in this play.
Smallwood ran for 12 yards. Gibson dragging across the middle, and the pass through his hands. And off the deflection was almost intercepted.
You know, I just thought Skylar just waited too long. He had Gibson open on the shallow cross right away, and I just think he waited too long to get him the ball. And you know, the struggles we've seen from Skylar here are just short area. That ball went right through. It went right through Gibson's hands.
Hey, look, in the lead up to the game, Dana Holgerson talked about it with us. He talked about it with the local media in Morgantown. He fights it. Gibson is great running under the ball on a deep pass, but when it's coming at him, he fights it.
That's an example of it, Mark.
Second down and 10. Russell Shell is in the backfield. He's in the flat now on the left side, but Howard's looking right. Pump fake. Tight end's going to give him a block. Took out 2 players, but enough pursuit to the edge as Darius Jones stops Howard after a 1-yard scramble.
When he scrambled to the right, just a 4-man rush, all the receivers were to his left. He had nobody to go to. Really nice job by Georgia Southern of forcing Howard all the way to the sideline.
Timeout now taken, West Virginia. They have 1 left with 1:11 remaining in the first half. We were talking earlier about who will challenge Baylor and TCU in the Big 12. TCU has high hopes because they have a Heisman hopeful, Trayvon Boykin, one of your Heisman hopefuls here, Baldy.
Well, I have Leonard Fournette out of LSU. I mean, he was a 6'1", 230-pound tailback that dominated the SEC a year ago. Of course, what Ezekiel Elliott did in the last 3 games, all the way to the national championship, is undeniable. Trevon Boykin here can do it all. Joey Bosa, you watch him against Oregon in the national championship game. What a phenomenal performance. Unblockable. Of course, what Nick Chubb did at Georgia. I mean, there's a lot of candidates. It's early. But we got a couple running backs on there. It's a running back heavy country right now with a lot of big names and good players.
But a long-time offensive lineman had to put a non-skill position player on there. Deep ball, no one there. Closest player for West Virginia was Jovan Durant. Back in coverage was Antonio Glover at safety, a senior from Atlanta.
Can't really say enough about the fight of this Georgia Southern defense. They've been on the field a lot. Their offense hasn't helped them out at all. They've held West Virginia to 3 field goals and the 1 long touchdown. 4th down here.
They led the Sun Belt in scoring defense last year. They were 9th amongst teams in Group of 5 conferences, allowing only 23 points per game.
Timeout of the half. West Virginia. It'll be a 30-second timeout.
4th and 9 at the 39 of Georgia Southern. West Virginia has used their final timeout of the first half with 64 seconds left, and a 4th and 9 again coming up.
Well, I know Dana is an offensive mind and might get greedy every once in a while, believes in his system, but I don't know, up 16-0, total control of the game. You don't make this 4th down. Do you leave the Eagles with good field position and maybe a chance to make a big play, maybe get a chance for a field goal, or do you do the other decision? I think he called a timeout. He thought smarter of it and said, you know what, let me put my bearded punter out there on the field, Nick O'Toole. Let him pin Georgia Southern back, and maybe we'll go into halftime up 16-0.
O'Toole had one big 65-yard punt that went into the end zone, but the last time he had that punt that stopped dead at the 6 or 7 yard line. And this one, that was a checkup. Unfortunately for him, there was about 2 yards too much air on it.
He needed a little bit of that Jordan Spieth backstop right there.
He almost was able to kill that inside the 1 or 2 yard line.
You can't see it with Nick O'Toole, but he's got no hair on top of his head. It's all on the beard. Like it just grows in different places.
Corona,
California. There it is. I thought he was going to show it off here. There. Oh.
You can see it now.
Oh, yeah. There we go. There we go. That's the look. That's the college look now. How big can that beard get? I mean, really, anything growing inside it?
We'll find out. We've got 3 months of season ahead of us. Inside handoff starting for the 20. Georgia Southern does have 2 timeouts. Run by L.A. Ramsby for 2 yards.
Well, they're fortunate to only be down 16-0 as much as West Virginia has completely dominated this game by their defense.
Stats, turnover margin, yardage. The only thing that has kept this game from being a bigger blowout is Georgia Southern's defense has been able to dig in and make a couple of stands and hold West Virginia to field goals in several red zone situations. L.A. Ramsby running again.
Well, they wanted to take the inside dive away, and they absolutely have. They've taken the dive away, and they smothered the pitch and the option, and so Georgia Southern content to go in here right now, without scoring in that first half, and just a smothering defense, not fooled at all by the triple option of Georgia Southern.
Down on the field, Leslie McCaslin with Dana Holgerson.
Well, Coach, your defense pitching a shutout there in the first half. How were they able to keep the Eagles from ever getting into a rhythm?
Tackling really well. We're getting our guys to the ball. Lots been made of this type of offense that they do. We've got to be disciplined. We've been very disciplined in what we're asking them to do, and then they're tackling really well.
On offense, I know you'd like some of those field goals to be touchdowns. What more do you need to see on that side?
We're moving the ball fine, putting guys in position, and I guess I forgot to tell them that once they make those plays, they need to go score. So I'm going to go challenge them to see if we've got guys that want to score.
Good halftime speech. Thanks, Coach.
Dana Holgerson, the West Virginia Mountaineers, in his 5th season here. They lead their season opener. They've won 11 straight home openers, and tonight they have a 16-0 advantage at the half against Georgia Southern. Stay tuned for Fox College Football Halftime with the Mountaineers in front in Morgantown. Field at Milan Pushkar Stadium. It's Fox College football. The Georgia Southern Eagles have not scored. West Virginia leads them 16-0. After the first half, second half in a moment. Stay with us for it. But first, Mark Followell, Brian Baldinger. Let's break down the first half. We'll have some highlights in a moment. But first, Brian, what do you think about the first 30 minutes of the game of the season for West Virginia and Georgia Southern?
Well, I mean, I thought West Virginia was dominant defensively. I mean, they've given up a lot less than 100 yards of total offense. Georgia Southern's battling, but the big difference in this game is the big pass plays of Skylar Howard to a couple of young, really talented wide receivers.
He spread the wealth. There have been 4 plays over 40 yards in the passing game. 2 went to Javon Durant. 2 went to Shelton Gibson, and the defense certainly made their mark in the first half, as you see in the highlights as well.
Yeah, it did. I mean, they just smothered this read option, but you look at the big plays here in the first half. Here's Skylar Howard to the talented freshman Javon Durant, 41 yards. His first catch is a touchdown for West Virginia. Here he is running away from the defensive back on a post, being able to bring that ball in. And then Shelton Gibson on the other side, the 2 talented outside wide receivers. That one for 57 yards. You know, and Skylar Howard has been the big play machine at quarterback here, Mark, I thought, in the first half. And then defensively, they just smothered David Upshaw. And this whole, zone read option that they like to get. Got 2 takeaways, one by Carl Joseph. An interception here in the middle of the field. Trayvon right there, great play, going up for the ball, playing it like he's the receiver. And you can see, statistically, just a dominant first half. 319 yards, 89. The one thing about West Virginia, they're only 1 for 7 on third down, and they've had to settle for a lot of field goals. So Georgia Southern is battling and hanging in there.
Those are the Quicken Loan stats for the first half of tonight's action. Now, a report down on the field from Leslie McCaslin. Leslie.
Well, guys, not surprising that Georgia Southern head coach Willie Fritz was very pleased with his defense in the first half. He said, our defense was great. We put them in some really bad spots. I asked him, though, how he gets things going offensively. He said, well, we had 4 or 5 run plays. He said, we just got to get bodies on bodies. He said, we need to hit the play action one time, and he said, our guys will calm down here in the second half. Mark?
Leslie, West Virginia at home since 2003, the 11th best winning percentage in the nation, 59-19. They've won almost 76% at home. 30 of their last 32 non-conference home games have been a win. They lead 16-0. Skylar Howard in his 3rd collegiate start. He played in 4 games last year, started 2. Now his 3rd start, you saw his numbers, 10 for 19, 246 yards. He's generated, about 180 of those on 4 plays.
Yeah, I mean, the big pass play is really did the difference. The first big one to Durant for 41 yards. That's their only touchdown of the day. As Dana Holgorsen, I don't think is happy at all with the first half. I don't think any coach in America should be happy after the first game or the first half of the first game. I mean, it's just the starting point, the building point that, where you're going to take leaps, hopefully, to improve. And so I'm sure he gave him a mouthful at halftime.
I think what's happening tonight, Brian, is, and especially in the case, for example, of Shelton Gibson and Javon Durant, unknowns going into this. Durant, a true freshman. Shelton Gibson, only 4 catches last year. One of the great honors at a golf tournament is to be the announcer who says who is on the first tee box at the U.S. Open or at the Masters, getting that opportunity. And tonight, we're on the first tee. We get the chance to announce the first hole, if you will, of Shelton Gibson and Javon Durant, and they've driven it right down the middle of the fairway, metaphorically speaking, so far.
Yeah, and you think about West Virginia last year, opened up at Alabama. Right. Nobody really knew who Kevin White was. He had 10 catches against Alabama, touchdown a year ago, went on, became the 7th pick in the NFL draft, and blistered the combine with the 4.35 40. And Skylar Howard has a couple of players that kind of remind you of Kevin White. The one, of course, is Javon Durant. He's not as big or strong as Kevin White, but he might be just as fast.
Kevin White, that was the 5th first-round pick for West Virginia since 2000. Nick O'Toole, line drive kick, and they are going to run it out. Derek Keaton, as noted earlier tonight, Derek Keaton was 10th last year in FBS at 27.8 yards per kickoff return. He had 16 opportunities to do so last year. A senior from Camden, Arkansas, limping a little bit coming off the field and returning it right out to the 25. He could have taken a knee, and that's where they would have had it, at the 25.
Well, Willie Fritz said, to Leslie at halftime, we've got to hit one of these pass plays. They haven't completed a pass in the first half. Albeit now, there's been 2 major drops by wide receivers. But these safeties of West Virginia are sitting at linebacker depth. And Willie Fritz knows we got to loosen these guys up, and the best way to loosen them up is to hit a big pass play.
Willie Fritz, second year at Georgia Southern, was a two-time FCS finalist when he was at Sam Houston State. Also coached Division II level Central Missouri State. Keeping it, Upshaw up the middle for 2 yards.
Kwiatkowski there with another tackle. He had 5 in the first half. His eyes will tell you the intensity of all of that. He doesn't even blink when he's looking inside the backfield, sniffing out where that ball is going.
103 tackles last year, 11.5 tackles for loss. Did West Virginia jump? Is this a free play? It's a fade, and it's intercepted. And Brian, I don't see a flag down at this point. If there is one, it's obscured from our vantage point. Carl Joseph may have a pick here for West Virginia.
Well, maybe Upshaw thinks that there's somebody who was in the neutral zone. That's why he just let it fly. He thought he had a free play, but Carl Joseph never stopped on the play. He's coming from the free safety position all the way over here. I mean, he's just reading the pass play, and he's just going to break on the ball. And there is no penalty. You can see like a little bit of movement on the outside. That's what Upshaw thought. He thought maybe I've got a free play. Everybody kind of stopped. No flag was thrown, and so the first pass play of the second half is intercepted.
Third turnover tonight committed by Georgia Southern. 2 interceptions thrown by Upshaw. And it's Antoine Williams with a takedown of Russell Shell on the first down run. Line of scrimmage after the turnover is the Georgia Southern 46. And down is Marquise Lucas, senior right tackle from Miami. Very experienced offensive lineman. Most of his starts have been at tackle. He does have 4 starts in his career at left guard, but tonight was his 14th start at right tackle.
And one of those original recruits of Dana Holgerson when he got here to Morgantown. One of those, you can see he's got the brace on the left knee as it is. Big man, though. He can't coach size, and he's got that. You see it takes 3 guys.
Can't coach being 318.
Nah, 3 guys to get him up off the ground. He looks like he's going to be okay, though. It's great to see him just kind of walking off under his own power. Dana told us yesterday that, look, we had a lot of live hitting in training camp this year, over 600 snaps. That means guys like Lucas and Carl Joseph were getting after it on the practice field, and it paid off. Very few injuries this preseason.
Now Marcel Lazard is in at right tackle, sophomore from Bloomfield, New Jersey. Fake handoff, rolling, pressure, Howard bumped down for a loss. All the way back to the original line of scrimmage as Bernard Dawson applying some serious pressure for the second time of the game.
I mean, Dawson is just going to chase, along with Deshaunte Gallen, the middle linebacker. Kind of fake the read option. And there's Dawson. And Gallen, the middle linebacker, really knocking Skylar Howard back for about a 5-yard loss.
Last year, 3 sacks for Dawson. He has at least half a sack from that, and he also forced an intentional grounding penalty earlier tonight. West Virginia, after the turnover, has now gone backwards. They have 3rd down and 11 at the Eagles' 47. To throw the ball, Howard. Or will he? Yes, he will. To the sideline, Wendell Smallwood trying to put a move on Darius Jones and stop well short of the first down.
You know, now West Virginia is 1 for 8 on 3rd down. I mean, you know, that's one thing that West Virginia knows that they've got to work on, staying out of those 3rd and long situations. But give the credit here to Georgia Southern with how hard they play. They chase to the football. They create negative plays. They haven't had a takeaway yet. But they're just, you know, you just get this, they're hanging around. They need a play to kind of spark the entire team offensively.
Middle rush on the punt is picked up well by West Virginia. Nick O'Toole kicks it, and it's fielded at the 8-yard line by Andre Sims. Poor field position for Georgia Southern, still being shut out in Morgantown. Fox College Football is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price every day. And by the Ford Free Ride Sales Event. The best deals are happening now only at your Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. West Virginia's forced 3 turnovers tonight, but they have not scored after any of those turnovers. 2 of them from Carl Joseph. 1 fumble recovery and 1 interception. Drayvon Askew-Henry also has an interception, but again, West Virginia has not scored any points off the 3 turnovers forced by their defense.
The defense has bailed them out after those 3 takeaways.
Georgia Southern after the punt from their own 8. Monte Crockett was in motion. Not much room to run. Up to the 10-yard line for L.A. Ramsby.
And here's a turnover. K.J. Dillon forces that ball out of Upshaw's hands, and Carl Joseph comes up with it. This long throw from Upshaw, intercepted by Trayvon Askew Henry, and then the first play of the third quarter, kind of an odd play. Carl Joseph comes over and intercepts Upshaw, getting a lot of All-American notice by Joseph. Certainly 2 takeaways helps his cause tonight.
Seam to run, 15-yard line, close to a first down on the keeper for Fabian Upshaw on the option. Joseph and Trayvon Askew Henry stop him right at the marker, and it is enough to move the chains forward.
And that's, you know, I mean, Upshaw has the 2 longest runs of the night for the Eagles offense. They have not been able to get either back, whether it's Breida or Ramsby, kind of free.
16 is the longest run tonight for Upshaw. That was 8 from the 18 with Matt Breida in the backfield. Georgia Southern averaged 39 points per game last year. They have not scored tonight. Breida is hit by Terrell Chestnut, stripped the ball out, but he's down. An emphatic call from the line judge. You see that? David Oliver pointing to the ground.
He doesn't fumble much, but this is just good hitting here by West Virginia. I mean, there's Chestnut just wrapping him right up and trying to strip that ball out. You can see the knee was down by Breida. Good camel work there, but Chestnut, one of those redshirt seniors, 5th year here. A lot of experience, been around here a long time.
Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Terrell Chestnut had a pick and a fumble return for a touchdown last year.
These safeties are getting involved. I mean, right away, bam. Joseph's on the bottom of that pile. These safeties are getting involved, and because there's nothing that's keeping these safeties back. You know, unless they can launch one of these, a deep pass play, a play action pass, Joseph's going to be in there at linebacker depth making those kind of plays, and there's nobody to block him.
Georgia Southern had 5 games between 2010 and 2013 where they did not complete a pass. They haven't completed one tonight. 0 for 7, 2 interceptions, 3rd down and 7 at their own 21. Play clock's down to 5, down to 4. 2 seconds, 1 second, snap us back. Blitz, a pass, a pick. Carl Joseph there again. 3rd turnover forced tonight by Joseph. This at the Georgia Southern 29.
What can he do? I mean, I don't know how he had that reaction. The ball was obviously poorly thrown, but he turned his whole body around to make that catch. I mean, phenomenal eyes, and Joseph making his 39th straight start here. Poorly thrown, but yeah, turn that body around, one-handed catch.
What an adjustment.
Yeah.
Any wide receiver would be impressed with the adjustment that Carl Joseph made for that.
He turned that body completely around, and now 3 takeaways in the opening game of his senior year. We talked about him yesterday. What a nice, quiet, well-spoken kid, but transforms himself once he steps onto the pitch to go play.
I can't answer your question, what can't he do? I did look at his Instagram page today. He can even cook. He had some pictures of some dinners that he's prepared. Here's a run by Wendell Smallwood to the right side, still on his feet, now driven backwards. Let's see where the forward progress is. Antoine Williams pushed him back, but the forward progress, Brian, is at the 25.
What a day by Antoine Williams, though. Him and Gallen both linebackers. But we have mentioned, I mean, now the takeaways, they haven't scored. Haven't scored in the first 3. They're trying to capitalize here.
Throwing. Skylar Howard finds DeKeel Shorts. It will be 1st and goal. They are in position now to capitalize on one of those turnovers as they have it at the 6-yard line.
And that was a good throw by Skylar Howard because he had to drive that ball. He couldn't put a lot of air under it, float it. He had to drive it in the middle of the field. One of his best throws of the night.
19 yards. Inside handoff, Russell Shell diving for the end zone. 2nd effort has him in for a West Virginia touchdown.
You can only give this high-powered offense so many so many chances with good field position before they're going to be able to score. They're just too talented. Great throw by Howard, and you saw the second effort by Shell. One of those efforts that made him one of the best high school players in the history of this great state of Pennsylvania.
And they produced some fantastic running backs over the years. 7 rushing touchdowns last year for number 7, Russell Shell. His first of 2015 is some 6 yards out. PAT is on the money for Josh Lamberts. 23-0 early in the third quarter. This drive started when Carl Joseph had his second interception of the night. Russell Shell finished off the drive, and Dana Holgerson slaps him on the helmet as he puts the Mountaineers up 23. 23 push-ups.
You know what? He's got good technique, though. Chest is all the way down as he's starting to short arm it a little bit. I think it should only be a push-up, though, if the beard touches the ground.
Nick O'Toole agrees with you.
As Darryl Worley, great talented cornerback here, hasn't been challenged very much tonight as Georgia Southern hasn't completed the pass, and a lot of time talking about Nick O'Toole's beard tonight as he kicks off the game.
Georgia Southern 0 for 8, 3 interceptions in the passing game. Carl Joseph has 2 of them. There's a run back on the kickoff. Monte Crockett stopped to the 17-yard line. Jenny Taft in Los Angeles with another college football game break.
Well, earlier today on Fox, number 13 UCLA hosting Virginia, and the Bruins debuting true freshman QB Josh Rosen, 351 yards, 3 TDs, living up to the hype. They're calling him the Chosen Rosen. UCLA handles Virginia 34-16 final. Guys, back to you.
We like that.
He already has the nickname, huh? Now you just have to live up to it every week. Now it's great to get it to a start for Jim Mora here, replacing Brett Hundley and the 3 great years he had with the Bruins.
Running play for Matt Breida for the 17, fought out of the tackle, stumbling forward, best run of the night for Matt Breida, picking up 14 yards. Leslie McCaslin down on the field.
Well, Baldy mentioned that Carl Joseph is from Haiti. He didn't come to the States until he was in his teens. He played soccer growing up, so it wasn't until he was 12 years old he started playing football. I asked him what was it about American football that he loved so much. He said just the physical aspect. He said, I grew up with 5 brothers. We were always roughhousing in the neighborhood and always tackling on the concrete. He said those 5 siblings now tell him they always knew he was going to play a rough sport, that he just had that in him. Not only one of the hardest hitters in college football, guys, pretty decent hands, too.
Yeah, 2 picks tonight, evidenced by that. Hope Jared Barber's okay.
Yeah, I do, too. He's walking off under his own power. You know, that Carl Joseph, he's going to graduate in December. I mean, not just a football player, but, you know, going to get his degree, you know, at the end of this semester as Jared Barber comes off. And not going to speculate what the injury is, but he's getting looked at there by the trainers, as he should.
First multi-interception game of Carl Joseph's career. Upshaw, big hole, 40, 45. Joseph pushed him out of bounds.
That's what they've been trying to get loose all night. And, of course, who chased him out but Joseph, who's been all over this field. But he gets out in the perimeter, kind of fakes the pitch. This is what he does best. I mean, we haven't really seen his breakaway speed tonight. That's the first opportunity. He's the leading rusher for the Eagles tonight.
22 yards there to the West Virginia 47. This is the second deepest foray into West Virginia territory for Georgia Southern. Just the second time. They had one other possession that got inside the 40 before a shot clock penalty short-circuited the drive. Now Upshaw throws and a completed pass for the first time in the game for Georgia Southern. It took almost 37 minutes. It's B.J. Johnson who catches it and steps out of bounds at the Mountaineer 35.
Yeah, and Willie Fritz said if you came out to watch one of our practices this year, you'd think that we spend more time throwing the ball, so you want to see more production than just that. But this is the best-looking drive that they've had tonight.
Breida ran it, then Upshaw, then a pass to B.J. Johnson. Now L.A. Ramsby turning upfield around the left end. 3 yards on the pickup. With under 8 minutes to go in the third quarter, Nick Kwiatkowski stopped him after a 3-yard gain. Earlier, Leslie was talking about Carl Joseph. You know, there's a saying in soccer, you get stuck in. That's where your studs get into somebody on a tackle. I bet Carl Joseph growing up, that was the kind of soccer player he was. Would get stuck in. Like a defensive midfielder.
I wonder if Carl Joseph could do one of those bicycle kicks where you kind of go backwards and you kick the ball over your head. I'll bet he has the athletic ability to do something like that.
Back to Upshaw on the snap. And it is closed down quickly. It looked like there was going to be room to run. But Al-Rasheed Benton at linebacker stepping in with Jared Barber out. And he steps into the hole, Wally.
He sure does. He takes on the blocker. That perfect technique. Takes on the blocker with his inside shoulder, keeps his outside shoulder free. And one of the few opportunities he's had tonight, takes a sure tackle.
Benton coming in. Sophomore from Newark, New Jersey, when Jared Barber went out a few plays ago on this drive. And Al-Rasheed Benton stopped him for no gain. Now 3rd down and 7, Georgia Southern. They are 3 of 10 tonight on 3rd downs. Late in the play clock, it's at the Mountaineer 33. Upshaw. What will he do? He'll get to the corner, and Carl Joseph is there again.
Wow, what a performance by Carl Joseph tonight. Because he had to lay out to make this play. I mean, Upshaw's got wheels now. Look, he's under control. He's sliding. And he's just grabbing whatever he can grab, whatever piece of twig that hangs off the lower limb of Fabian Upshaw, he was grabbing it.
Kept him to only 2 yards. Now 4th and 5. This will be the second time it would appear that Georgia Southern will go for a 4th down. Here's some motion from Derek Keaton. Upshaw's rolling under heavy heat. Throws it low. Incomplete. B.J. Johnson trying to come back to the ball. He could not make the grab. Terrell Chestnut on the coverage and a turnover on downs for the second time.
Well, Chestnut had the coverage, but they also got pressure on Upshaw. Didn't have a clean look at it. He was forced to throw that ball earlier than he wanted, and the result was an errant throw. But you'll see Upshaw roll out here. I mean, there's K.J. Dillon, the boundary outside linebacker, in his face.
Dana Holgerson's defense and Tony Gibson, the defensive coordinator, still keeping them off the board. Over 2.5 quarters deep into the game, West Virginia still pitching a shutout. Now their offense is on the field after forcing a turnover on downs. 23-0, the Mountaineers lead.
Got to give a lot of credit to this offensive line. Dana Holgerson said he doesn't want his offensive line to show up. He doesn't want them to be heard from. Just do your job, no penalties, keep my quarterback clean, we'll take care of the rest.
Howard faked the ball to Wendell Smallwood, throwing, cut, leaping to catch it is Durant, Jovan Durant, the true freshman, making a big play in the passing game again into Georgia Southern territory, 23 yards.
Watch Durant go up for this off one leg. It's like that's like the triple jump going up like that. Like he's riding a bicycle in the middle of the air. I mean, almost. I mean, I'm not going to make this comparison, but like Randy Moss had that type of ability at Marshall his freshman season, where he looks just different athletically than everybody else.
Running the ball, Wendell Smallwood, churning, fighting forward, near the 40 of the Eagles. 41 officially is where they'll put it down. Darius Sapp from Valdosta, Georgia, a sophomore, 330 pounds on the D-line with the takedown.
I'm just incredibly speechless by the talent of Durant.
3 catches, 121 yards tonight, Brian.
Yeah.
40 yards a pop.
And speed, athletic ability, leaping ability.
High snap, brought down by Howard. Smallwood using his hands to maneuver past tacklers and blockers. And finally, a big hole opens up. He'll scoot out of bounds on the far side from our perspective. Darius Jones forced him out. Big run for a first down.
Really an all-around back. Can line up in the slot, patient, can stop and start, pick it up. Really has good vision. Said that Charles Sims, who graduated here 2 years ago, now plays for the Buccaneers. He just followed him around like he was his big brother and learned everything from him.
15 yards on the run. Now for the end zone. To Shelton Gibson. What's the signal? Touchdown. He brought it in.
These receivers are just putting on a performance. First game out of the blocks here. I mean, you're just seeing incredible ball skills here. But look at how far off the corner is. He still gets behind him on the double move. Now watch him adjust to the ball. He knows he's got to go low for it. 2 hands on it, cradles it, and now the celebration is on. Riyad Jones was the corner in that play. Still got behind him on kind of a double move. And Skylar Howard has got a second touchdown pass of the night.
You've got a big play 1-2 punch now with Jovan Durant and Shelton Gibson, and reliable receivers in the underneath game, and Jordan Thompson and Da'Keil Shorts that we've seen tonight for West Virginia.
It's going to be a fun Big 12. There are some dynamic receivers at Baylor, TCU, here at West Virginia.
30-0 on the extra point. Gibson, 3 catches, 130 yards. Skylar Howard's thrown for 319. And here's a look at Shelton Gibson in the end zone for the first time at West Virginia for the sophomore from Cleveland Heights, Ohio. 30-0, the Mountaineers on top. A lot to cheer about on the opening night of the season in Morgantown, West Virginia. The Mountaineers lead Georgia Southern's Eagles 30-0. Shelton Gibson finishing off a drive with his first touchdown reception. And we've seen Jake O'Toole kick off tonight, but now Mike Molina will have the opportunity. Derek Keaton is back deep to receive. 2005 was the last time West Virginia shut out an FBS opponent, Cincinnati. We've had shutouts over FCS opponents since, Towson and Coastal Carolina. Carl Joseph on defense, a big reason why West Virginia has the shutout so far.
Boy, he's the star tonight. Got 3 takeaways, that fumble recovery in the first quarter. Then this interception, the first play of the third quarter. Came over, just made a play on the ball, and then this incredible athletic, acrobatic catch, turning his body around. And then, you know, it's not just the takeaways. It's the open field tackles against elite athletes. No showboating from this kid. Just plays the game the right way, plays it hard. Can't say enough about him. An All-American preseason candidate and off to a good start to kind of back up those credentials. And the other thing I always think, Mark, durability is important as ability. 39 straight starts.
Yes, great point. That was the Mattress Firm All Access update. KJ Dillon, the tackle, on the run by Matt Breida. Carl Joseph has 7 tackles, 2 interceptions, 1 fumble recovery. And you are so right. Durability is a big part of what Carl Joseph has brought to the table.
Well, we asked him yesterday, what's the biggest injury he's had to play with? He said, I got a little nagging hamstring, over a couple years, and he dislocated a finger this preseason. It doesn't seem to be bothering him too much tonight.
Not in the least, my friend. Not in the least. Breida ran for first down in the first play of the drive, but he's swallowed up by Kwiatkowski and Al-Rashid Benton.
This defense by Tony Gibson is a 3-3-5. 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers, 5 defensive backs. And those linebackers, whether it's been Barber, Kwiatkowski, Dillon, they have been all over the field. And they have so many different combinations of how they can blitz and pressure a team. We've seen playmakers all over the field.
As unique as Georgia Southern's offense is and to prepare for, West Virginia's defense is equally as unique. And a pass and a catch. Nice grab. Derek Keaton, only the 2nd completion tonight for Fabian Upshaw, who's starting at quarterback with Kevin Ellison, their starter last year, out the first 2 games.
Boy, Keaton, who's been their kickoff returner, goes high for that ball. And I think Upshaw, regardless of what happens score-wise tonight, he needs more completions to build some confidence. They have their home opener next week. They need to kind of get some confidence in him. Ellison will be back, but he's going to play this year. Needs to complete more passes.
Running right. Big hit by Joseph, by the way, on L.A. Ramsey.
He hit him in midair. I don't know if L.A. wants to go vertical like that, because Joseph is just waiting to put some wood on.
You hear it, and the reaction. Well, he may not want to go vertical. He was willing to go verbal, though, with Carl Joseph after the play.
We might feel that one tomorrow.
And Upshaw's down, flag down, though. Face mask, horse collar, something up around the helmet happened for Christian Brown with 2:19 to play in the third quarter.
Foul. Yep. Grasping the face mask. Number 99 of the defense. 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
I believe, Mark, that's the first defensive penalty of West Virginia tonight. Not just an aggressive penalty. You can say, oh, yeah, that's flagrant. Got him by the face mask and didn't get off it. Happy that Upshaw wasn't injured on a play like that.
John McDade, the referee, said 99 is obviously 95. Brown.
Yeah, Christian Brown.
5 penalties, 37 yards tonight. And 2 of those penalties for West Virginia were on the opening possession, opening drive of the game. Remember, they had an unsportsmanlike conduct on a touchback on the opening kickoff. The penalty moves it down to the 29 of the Mountaineers. Matt Breida running inside and hanging on to the ankle, and toppling him over was Nick Kwiatkowski at the 25, 4-yard gain.
There's a little bit more running room inside right now, deep into this third quarter. As you'd expect, defense getting worn down a little bit, but obviously with the 30-0 Cushing, they can play a little bit more relaxed. I don't think that guy knows how to relax.
Last year, Georgia Southern, 53 rushes, 13 passes a game. The split tonight is 43 runs, 11 passes, and only 2 of those 11 passes completed. And they will not have a chance to get off at 12. And the offensive lineman, Andy Kwan, the center, finds the loose ball. Nomo Wachuku from Wiley, Texas, punched it free. And I'm sorry, that was Ward. That's Ward who recovered it, not Kwan. Ward recovered it.
But the pressure's just smothering. They're forcing these loose balls here. Upshaw, I mean, he just doesn't have any security at all as Wachuku doubles back and knocks that ball out.
And then Jeff Ward, a former offensive lineman / tight end. He was lined up as an H-back, jumped on it. 3rd and 9, 28 of West Virginia. Upshaw goes underneath, and another drop. And that's 2 tonight by Ryan Longoria.
Well, you know, they had sung Ryan Longoria's praises all week to us, saying most improved player, big receiver, going to be a big part of the passing game. 2 opportunities tonight right through his hands.
Tough break for Georgia Southern in the last minute of the third quarter. Down 30-0 at the West Virginia 28. Offense staying on the field on 4th and 9. They had missed out on 2 previous 4th down attempts tonight.
West Virginia in pure man-to-man defense right here. And the challenge receivers at the line of scrimmage.
Upshaw throwing. And intercepted. Carl Joseph does it again.
The hat trick.
4 turnovers, 3 interceptions. And you are right, my friend. A hat trick for Carl Joseph.
I have never, doing college football now here at Fox for the last 6 years, I've never seen it. I've never seen a defensive player have a day like this. There's it. I said it was man-to-man across the board. He just jumped. I mean, great skills, jumping right in front of the receiver, saying that ball is mine. We've seen it all from him. We've seen open field tackles, fumble recoveries, and great ball skills as he breaks on that ball the way a good defensive back should.
And all 3 of the interceptions have been in this order. Wow. Trayvon Askew Henry had an interception in the first half, but Carl Joseph has 3 interceptions in 1 quarter for West Virginia. Goodell Smallwood running and room to the far sideline, and Antoine Williams forced him out on the first play after the turnover, but not before he picked up big yardage.
Mark, think about what you're saying there. I mean, if you get 3 interceptions in a season, you've had a pretty good year.
Yes.
Those are good numbers.
If you get 3 interceptions in a game, you're your team's player of the
But if
game.
you get 3 interceptions in a quarter, it's unheard of.
Literally unheard of, I would think.
I have to look that one up.
34-yard line after the run by Smallwood. 19 yards on the pickup. Howard is dropping. Howard is throwing. And the ball's caught at midfield. And trying to run out of the tackle was Jordan Thompson. He conceded a little bit of yardage, but still has a first down.
Okay. Skylar Howard is getting more confidence as this game's going on. That's another good throw where he stepped into it, really drove the ball where he had to, put it in a great position for Thompson to go get it.
The third quarter is done with West Virginia leading 30-0 in Morgantown. Quarters down, 1 to go in Morgantown. West Virginia, 30-0 lead over Georgia Southern, outgaining them 454 to 189. A 5-0 turnover margin favoring the Mountaineers. Stepping up in the pocket in the first play of the fourth quarter, tucking it under and running, Skyler Howard. Moves into Georgia Southern territory. The line of scrimmage was a 48. He'll run this down close to a first down. Antonio Glover escorting him out of bounds after a gain of 9.
Well, Skyler Howard really looked at the defense that time and saw no linebackers in the box. They were all spread out trying to help with these receivers, and it was easy for him just to pull it down and find an opening and take off.
2nd and 1. Howard hit behind the line of scrimmage. Darius Sapp, Tay Hicklin. Saw Bernard Dawson and one of the receivers, Jordan Thompson, talking a little bit in the aftermath. Some afters.
One thing I'd say about Skyler Howard is he takes too many hits right now, Mark. He's not a big guy. You know, Clint Trickett wasn't a big guy. He took a lot of hits, didn't finish the season. I think he just has to be careful about protecting himself. Even here, up 30-0, really no reason to keep that ball in that situation. Hand the ball off, let your backs take the hits.
They're down in 4 after the loss. Dropping to throw Howard, and it's caught by Nikhil Shorts for a first down. Bounces off 2 defenders, Darius White and Antonio Glover, and he's down to the Georgia Southern 19.
Well, here he is, just in a slot, just quick slant. Really, the defender never had good leverage to take that slant away from him. And nobody has put more receivers in the NFL in the first round than Dana Holgorsen over the last couple of seasons, and he's got young guys that could end up being first-round draft picks.
Kevin White last year, Tayon Austin 2 years ago. 19-yard line. That was 26 yards of the pass play to Nikhil Shorts. And it is Ramel Smallwood bursting into the end zone. He's on the scoreboard. Touchdown, West Virginia.
They got a heck of a running game because the offensive line is big and they're experienced, and Smallwood has got great vision. He saw the opening to his right, made the quick cut, and then the burst to the end zone. This is the West, it's early, but this is the best West Virginia team I've seen since Dana Holgorsen has come to town.
And only picked 6 in the preseason of the Big 12, which doesn't matter when you start playing the games, of course.
Of course not,
but I think early, but making a case that they should have received more respect than that.
Well, they've got the tough schedule. At Oklahoma, at Baylor, at TCU. Those 3 games within a 4-week span. But
they have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. We're seeing it tonight. That's when Del Smallwood scampering in from 19 yards out, and the route is on at Morgantown. Things happening on the sideline make it look like Skyler Howard's night is done. 6 for 6 in the second half, 16 of 25 for the game.
Well, and he's really spread the ball around. Of course, the talented freshman, Javon Durant, Shelton Gibson right here with this one. The long ball has been there all night. 4 plays over 40 yards, a couple of touchdowns. This one here to Gibson. I mean, we're showing one deep ball after another. These guys can get behind the defense, but I thought in the second half, the short and intermediate passes were much better from Howard, just really driving the ball.
By the way, it's 135 collegiate passes without an interception as well. Big hit on the kickoff return. Monte Crockett. Jeremy Tyler, a backup safety. And he may be listed number 2 on the depth chart at the spur position, but he is a junior. And you can hear the crunching hit delivered against Monte Crockett.
You know, when Dana Holgorsen started coaching at Valdosta State back in 1993, he was a special teams coach first couple of years. Mississippi College, he was a special teams coach, and he's been working with the special teams, working on their coverage units. They had 5 kicks returned for touchdowns a year ago. Like, it's a big part and a big emphasis this whole season is coverage on both kickoffs and punts.
And also the punt return game as well, because they struggled mightily there last year. 2nd worst in FBS. New quarterback, Vegas Harley's in the game, handing the ball off. Now we get a Ginny Taft college football game break from LA.
Mark, thank you. More action from number 3 Alabama facing number 20 Wisconsin. Derrick Henry up the middle, his second long touchdown of the night. That's some serious speed from the 240-pound running back. Alabama up 21-7.
That game tonight in Arlington, Texas at AT&T Stadium.
This I know. When Nick Saban is a coach, he's got a stud running back.
Yes, sir.
Or 2 or 3.
Running for just the second time tonight, Wesley Fields, a freshman. Vegas Harley, who's played some safety in his time at Georgia Southern, but he is the quarterback, a junior from Mount Dora, Florida, backing up Fabian Upshaw tonight. Upshaw starting with Kevin Ellison out, and here in a 37-0 game, Harley getting some snaps now.
Well, it's been a tough outing for Upshaw, but he'll put that behind him. This will be a better team when Ellison gets back in there, but Vegas Harley gets a couple reps here on the road against a dynamic team.
3rd and 3, a handoff, driving forward and pushing the pile forward is Fields. That's a nice tough run by the freshman for a first down.
Yeah, a lot of backups for both teams right now. You know, Willie Fritz trying to develop some depth, give these kids a chance. Kind of show what they do. Xavier Preston right there. Big part of their nickel package here for the Mountaineers.
And a lot of promise as his career unfolds. I think everyone feels like here in Morgantown. Tony Gibson spoke highly of him to us yesterday. There's Tony Gibson, the defensive coordinator for West Virginia. First down run. And again, this is Fields. Fields, the freshman, for the 25 to the 28.
Well, the big thing tonight is West Virginia took the basic dive play away. Every option team, whether it's been Wishbone with Barry Switzer, whether it's been the veer option at Houston, it all starts with the dive play, and they've taken the dive away tonight. Once you take the dive away, then you just scramble assignment football to the pitch and to the option.
2 middle linebackers have been hurt tonight for West Virginia. Jared Barber went out earlier in the game. Now, Al-Rashid Benton is shaken up.
Yeah, he's his backup. Barber's backup. Usually when they're doing that, that's a cramp. So a lot of cramps really around college football today and even on Thursday night. You know, just in this kind of heat and humidity. We had a big rain shower come through here this afternoon.
At 3:45, 4 o'clock, it poured.
Yeah.
It was 80 degrees at kickoff tonight, but humidity was over 60%.
Yeah, that's not fun, too. When those calves are cramping like that, all you can do is stretch it, you know, and get some fluids, get some Gatorade into your system.
Benton being assisted up here in the 4th quarter with 11 minutes remaining in the game. While we have a moment, let's note Carl Joseph's performance in a historical perspective tonight. 3 interceptions. First time for West Virginia to have a player for West Virginia to have 3 interceptions in a game since Van with 2 ends, Washington, against Louisiana Tech, October of 1994. There was a 4 interception game for Mike Slater against Kentucky in November 1969 for West Virginia.
But, you know, they only had 14 takeaways the whole year last year.
Right.
He's got 4 tonight.
Yeah, he recovered a fumble, 3 picks.
Yeah.
They're a +5. They doubled up what they want to do. They want 2.5 turnovers a game, Tony Gibson told us yesterday, Baldy. They have 5.
They got 5. They doubled what he wanted.
Inside run by Vegas Harley. They're also going to exceed his desires in terms of scoring defense, which was they wanted that number to be at 19 points per game.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they've hit all their goals here tonight.
5 3-and-outs, or 5.5, I believe was the number he told us, average per night.
Carl Joseph, 3 interceptions in the 3rd quarter. Remarkable. And they weren't easy catches.
3rd and short, under a yard to go. Wesley Fields, the running back, is over the 35. A mass of humanity stops the play outside the 35. But that's enough to move the chains forward, and I think that's exactly what Georgia Southern wants to do right now, which is keep the clock moving towards the end of the game and regroup and get ready to play Western Michigan next week in Statesboro, Georgia. Western Michigan gave a good fight to Michigan State last night.
Well, they're going to You know, and then, of course, you know, they're the Sun Belt champs, so they want to defend that this year. They're undefeated, one of 3 FBS teams to be undefeated in their own conference a year ago. This is not a pretty picture here tonight, but every team needs a start, and then you go from there.
Running again on first down. The other teams who were undefeated in conference play last year, this is the company that Georgia Southern kept. Florida State and Ohio State.
Well, remember, they made the jump last year, Willie Fritz's inaugural season here at Georgia Southern, from FCS competition into the Sun Belt, where they went 9-3, 8-0 in the conference. And Willie said, look, we've got to play better this year than we did last year if we're going to defend our crown. And he said, look, we got to take the ball away more, and we got to throw the ball better. And certainly they're going to work on both those things this week, getting ready for Western Michigan. And in the transition year last year, not eligible for a bowl, full-fledged membership in FBS this year means they are eligible. So a slice of history is available for the Georgia Southern program if they get the necessary 6 wins for bowl eligibility. I believe the Sun Belt has 4 bowl commitments. Yep. You know, and we got to, you know, our big story coming in this week was this great and vaunted rushing attack. They had to replace 4 starters in the offensive line, so these young guys need a chance to get a real game under their belt. They didn't do a lot of scrimmaging, and so this is the first real live contact they've had. You got to take it and use it as a learning experience. 9th play of the drive. The drive's netted about 30 yards. Down went Wesley Fields at the hands of Justin Arndt. You know, it is interesting, though, because West Virginia's tackled very well tonight. The couple chances where really Georgia Southern's had an opening, a chance to have a big play. Open field tackling has been excellent, and that was a real emphasis of West Virginia this summer, was to work on their tackling, to work on the fundamentals. And I think a lot of teams have gotten away from it. Not Tony Gibson there in your picture, the defensive coordinator.
Going for it on 4th down for the 4th time in the game, Georgia Southern, and they are 0-for-4 with that. 4th and 1 was snuffed out rather easily. Another tackle by Justin Arndt. He's not the only one. Darian Howard, you see him, all 295 pounds of the junior from Dayton, Ohio, headed to the sideline as he anchored the interior of the defensive line in the big stop. Jared Barber had a sack earlier tonight. Skylar Howard and Shelton Gibson have hooked up for a touchdown. Russell Shell ran it into the end zone earlier. It's all been the Mountaineers who lead it 37-0. West Virginia on top 37-0, middle of the 4th quarter. Here's Leslie McCaslin.
Well, it looks like backup quarterback William Crest is in now for West Virginia. Guys, he is such an athlete that for a while these coaches have had him practicing in several different positions. He's an athlete. They just wanted him out there on the field. It was only the last couple of weeks that they've had him focused primarily at quarterback. Dana Holgerson told us that he can run, he can throw it. Really, the only thing he needs is experience, guys. He'll get that here tonight.
2 snaps in the first half tonight when Skylar Howard lost his helmet on a play, and now William Crest Jr. is in for the last half of the 4th quarter, and he's keeping the ball and running. There's the foot speed that Leslie just spoke of. Crest to the sideline. A turnover on downs started this possession for West Virginia, and the first play is a nice run by Crest.
Well, that's what he did at high school in Baltimore, a little over an hour away from here. And so he was a two-way threat there, and that's why he was recruited. And he's a bigger kid. He's 6'2", almost 220 pounds. You know, was redshirted a year ago, and now he gets his opportunity to back up Skylar Howard.
17 yards on the run, and now the first carry for Dante Thomas Williams. Redshirt freshman from Durham, North Carolina, ran for 2,400 yards and 24 touchdowns as a senior in high school. And his first carry as a Mountaineer running back is for 4 yards.
You never know what any of these kids can do until they get the chance. Right. You know, I mean, I mean, there's no substitute for playing a game. I mean, Skylar Howard, you know, wasn't recruited heavily out of Fort Worth, had to go to a couple colleges to get here to kind of prove it. It looks like he belongs here tonight. He went to Fort Worth Brewer High School. He tried to walk on at Stephen F. Austin. He ended up transferring to Riverside City College, JUCO in California. And now here he is at West Virginia and about to engineer his second win in 3 starts. Okay, when you look around the Big 12, okay, and it's early, but you look at TCU and the receiving core that Trevon Boykin has. You see what Russell has at Baylor, Katie Cannon and that group. You look at this group here. I don't know if there's a conference that has better wide receivers than the Big 12. Running the ball, William Crest.
only 2 for 9, West Virginia on third downs tonight. Antoine Williams throws Crest down. It appears he does have enough, though, but only the third down conversion tonight for the West Virginia Mountaineers. They are at the Georgia Southern 13.
Hey, when you look up at the end of the night, I mean, there's going to be a 50-50 ratio run-pass.
Yeah.
I mean, they've quietly run the ball pretty effectively. We talk about the big pass plays, but Dana's mixed in a lot of runs here.
32 runs, 26 passes tonight.
There you go.
More on that in a moment. Officially, the line of scrimmage, the 14-yard line. Turning and handing off, Dante Thomas-Williams powers down to the 11-yard line. Last year, 43 rushes per game for Dana Holgorsen here at West Virginia. That's the most rushes for a West Virginia offense on a per-game basis since 2007. Steve Slayton, Noel Devine, Pat White at quarterback. They ran the ball 48 times a game back in 2007, 43 times last year.
Well, Dana went to Iowa Wesleyan. When he was a quarterback there, the coaches were Hal Mumme and Mike Leach. And they kind of like groomed him in the passing game, and he's made a little departure from Mike Leach and some of those guys. He believes in the run.
And the run has netted a lot of yardage. 2 touchdowns tonight. Russell Shell 1, Wendell Smallwood another, as Dante Thomas-Williams runs the ball.
But one thing Dana does, they reload. I mean, how many teams lose 2 receivers to the NFL? And Kevin White, first-round pick, and Mario Alford, a 7th-round pick that made the Cincinnati Bengals, and replace him with guys that we've seen tonight.
Lost 2 offensive linemen to the NFL, too. Mark Lewinsky and Quentin Spain. And a good pass-rushing linebacker, too, Shaq Riddick. Dante Thomas-Williams trying to stretch it forward inside the 5-yard line. They need about the 4 for a first down. Clint Trickett, he's now a quarterback's coach at a very good junior college program. 3 of the last 4 years national champs, East Mississippi Community College.
Of course,
and then, as you said, Kevin White and Mario Alford in the NFL.
Clint Trickett's father, of course, the offensive line coach at Florida State. Only put 4 offensive linemen in the NFL this year.
And Clint said when his career ended last year that he was going into coaching the family business.
Yeah, it is a family business. It really is. And I think Skyler Howard's got to feel pretty good about his debut here tonight as he gets some congratulations from a few of the coaches.
Timeout called on a 4th and 1 with 3:49 to play. The 55,182, just a skosh short of their average last year here at West Virginia. They're dancing in the aisles with a 37-0 4th quarter lead, a 4th and 1 at the Georgia Southern 5. William Crest handing the ball off. Dante Thomas-Williams, first down. Stretches for the 1. Clint officially put him down at the 2. But the first down conversion on 4th down.
Dante Thomas-Williams looks like he's got some skills, though. I mean, he just puts that shoulder down, just runs right over the defender. Like, these guys are all about going for the goal line.
They have 2 rushing touchdowns tonight. Russell Shell had 1. Wendell Smallwood had 1. Maybe Dante Thomas-Williams will get a taste of the end zone for the first time in his collegiate career. Not going to happen here. Might have coughed it up.
Yeah, how about that? The ball's out.
Williams, the ball carrier.
West Virginia's forced 5 turnovers. They have not committed one tonight.
I think all 8 officials are in the pile.
And remember, players cannot pull people off the pile now. That's a penalty. That's an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty now this year, Baldy.
Okay.
That is a new rule this year. If a player comes in and pulls someone off the pile, that's unsportsmanlike conduct.
I don't know if the officials can even see it. They were all in there at one point. They wouldn't know.
Nardo Govan.
Who's the last guy with the ball? Geez, after all of that, they got the ball back. All right, let's see. Got 2 hands on it. Now that ball's out.
Yeah, Govan punched it away.
Punched it out.
Somehow, though, West Virginia got the ball back. Now they have 2nd down and goal to go at the 2 with 2.5 minutes to play in the game. And keeping it, William Crest. He's in. He had 1 rushing touchdown last year against Towson, and he finishes off this night for the West Virginia offense. 43 points and an extra point on the way. to make it a 44-point advantage with 2:26 to go.
And really, the performance tonight by West Virginia, they were ready to play. They have a great home field. In all phases of the game, they were a dominant team. Georgia Southern, look, it was tough coming up here. Any team would have a hard time coming in here tonight, but they put this whole thing together in every phase. I would say Dana's going to be very happy with what he saw.
Lambert's extra point is on the money. 10-play, 41-yard drive. Took 5 minutes, 21 seconds off the clock. Again, he did run for a touchdown against Towson last year. He's into the end zone against Georgia Southern. That's redshirt freshman William Crest Jr. from Baltimore. West Virginia, 44-0. 2:26 remaining. West Virginia, 44-0. They lead Georgia Southern for the Sun Belt Conference tonight. Scored just a moment ago by William Crest Jr. Mike Molina to kick off. Into the end zone for a touchback. Tonight, Carl Joseph forced 4 turnovers. 3 of them were interceptions. First time it's happened for the Mountaineers in 21 years.
Well, that was the first play of the third quarter. Then he turned around on an underthrown ball and made that a one-handed catch. That was his second to third quarter. And then this incredible break where he's really dropping down to cover the slot receiver. Steps right in front of him, and I'm sure he's got an audience right there, and he's telling them all about it. Although he really isn't a braggart type of a player. I just think he has fun. He enjoys the game. He loves the contact of it. You know, but 4 takeaways in one game. That's a season's worth of takeaways in one night.
Right inside here on first down for Georgia Southern. Red Lawyer Insurance player of the game, safety Carl Joseph. You were asking about the last time that West Virginia had an All-American safety, Bo Orlando.
Oh, Bo Orlando.
In 1988.
Yeah, sure.
Went on to play with the Houston Oilers.
Look at that kid, man. I mean, really what college football is all about. I mean, it seems like he's just embraced it. You know, we talked about, you know, his family immigration from Haiti to Florida. You know, played in a big program in Orlando, loved the game of football, loved the contact.
Yeah.
Recruited here, has started 39 straight games. Never been seriously injured.
Running the ball, Chaz Thornton here with under 2 minutes to play in the game. Dare I say, Brian, he is now the Haitian sensation for West Virginia.
Oh, you know, what's the quarterback's name in UCLA right now? The Chosen Rosen? Yeah, the sensation Haitian. I think we got a little bit of a jingle going here.
Georgia Southern, last time they were shut out was in an FCS playoff game against Montana, 45-0. You think about before Georgia Southern's conversion to FBS, Montana, North Dakota State, Appalachian State, Georgia Southern, the dominant programs of FCS from the 80s all the way until recently. And now Georgia, and some of those programs are still dominant at the FCS level, but obviously Georgia Southern is taking a step up the ladder. There will be better days ahead for them, but this is a rough go of it tonight as Jared Harper drills Vegas Harley for a loss.
You know, stopping option football is assignment football. Somebody's got the dive, somebody's got the quarterback, somebody's got the pitch. You talk about it, you practice it, and then you go out and you try to execute it. Tonight, it's been flawless execution on West Virginia's part when it comes to that type of assignment.
Tony Gibson said he started looking at tape from Georgia Southern in March because of the unique nature of their offense.
There's only, you see one team like this all year that runs it 80% of the time.
Ryan Nowicki to punt. He punted last year, and 2 years ago he averaged a school record at Georgia Southern, over 43 yards a punt, but Matt Flynn displaced him as the starting punter. But Nowicki kicks that one out of bounds. West Virginia's receivers, big plays tonight.
Oh, this kid. We're going to hear a lot about him nationally. Javon Durant, 2 big catches there. Adjusts his body in the middle of the air constantly. Shelton Gibson on the other side. Flat speed. You don't put a safety in the middle of the field. These are the type of throws that you're going to see. Gibson adjusting to that ball for his 1 touchdown catch. Celebration was on.
Both 3 catches and both averaging over 40 yards per grab, and each getting into the end zone 1 time tonight.
And we saw them both really make great adjustments to the ball in the air.
And think of how much of an opportunity they will have to grow, because Durant's a true freshman and Gibson is a sophomore. 1 knee taken. Willie Fritz and Dana Holgerson will shake hands, and the two coaches will get ready for next week. Georgia Southern will host Western Michigan, and a game against FCS Liberty is what West Virginia is preparing for next week. 12 straight home openers won by the Mountaineers as they are victorious tonight. They shut out Towson in their home opener last year. They shut out Georgia Southern in their home opener in 2015, 44-0. Leslie McCaslin on the field with Dana Holgerson. Leslie.
All right, thanks, guys. Well, Coach, I know you guys are always ready to get out here in your first game and see what you have. So what did you think of your team tonight?
Well, I was happy, obviously. It starts with our defense. Be able to shut these guys out. This is a tricky bunch now, and we've worked hard. I'm really proud of Tony Gibson and how we got these guys ready to play. To shut these guys out is unheard of. So it's really good with the defense. Carl Joseph, player of the game, 3 picks. Just as our team leader, I mean, does a great job. And then obviously, offensively coming back into the second half and scoring a few touchdowns, which was good.
Yeah, 3 picks in a quarter. That's unheard of. And then you talked this week about how you knew Shelton Gibson and Jovan Durant were fast, but you weren't sure if they could make plays. What do you think after tonight?
Well, 200-yard guys, so we're used to that around here. We've had lots of 100-yard receivers, and looks to me like we got 2 more.
You excited about the potential that you see from your team here tonight?
Yeah, I'm happy with where we're at. This is 1 win, so we got to make a bunch of corrections, move on to the next one.
All right, thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, one of the great traditions here at West Virginia, Country Roads plays as everyone gets to, in unison, sing and have a good time tonight after a season-opening victory. Georgia Southern's a good program. Thought this might be a closer game. Who knows how much they miss Kevin Ellison at quarterback, but West Virginia is very good. They were ready to play. The work they put in the preseason paid off tonight, Baldy.
I don't know anybody that doesn't like to sing Country Road.
No, but
I feel like jumping in and singing it. That's one of those songs you're driving in the car, through this beautiful countryside of West Virginia as the leaves have a tint of fall in them already.
Right.
And you want to sing this, and everybody wants to get involved. But they've got a lot to really be excited about. It's 1 game. It's Georgia Southern undermanned with their quarterback suspended, and they played well. And this is a great atmosphere. This is college football here, traditions, and then the execution they played with. It was fun to watch this performance by the Mountaineers.
They win 44-0. They'll play Liberty next week. They've got another non-conference game with Maryland. That's always a rivalry matchup between the Mountaineers and the Terps. And then Big 12 play will get started for West Virginia.
Budakowski there. He put in a nice effort. You see Barber in front of him.
Good to see, by the way, that he looks okay.
Yeah.
And Carl Joseph, there he is. He had 3 interceptions and a fumble recovery tonight, and it was all West Virginia with their big win over Georgia Southern. Next week, more Big 12 football. Our coverage starts at 3 Eastern. UTEP takes on Texas Tech. Later, our featured game is 4th-ranked Baylor facing Lamar. For Brian Baldinger and Leslie McCaslin and our fantastic crew in Morgantown, West Virginia, I'm Mark Followell. Thanks for watching. This has been a presentation of Fox College Football. Everyone have a great Labor Day weekend.